And we're live from the Emmy. No, not the
No.
from no.
Oh god, yeah, we need to talk about those, huh?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, it's gonna be a long show. Okay,
It's gonna be a long show.
let's get rolling.
All right, let's get started here. And welcome into another episode of the Media Boat Podcast, your weekly episodes for everything covering movies, TV, music, and video games. Not necessarily in that order. And I am feeling a whole lot better and sounding a whole lot better.
Hey!
My name is Mike. His name is Matt.
My name is Matt. His name is Mike. Thank you for joining us. Today is September the 17th, 2022. I am thoroughly caffeinated and ready to go because this is going to be a long one. We have a lot to talk about today.
A lot of thoughts.
So let's get right into it because we don't have time to dawdle.
It's episode 349.
Yes.
September 17th.
Yeah, you know it's September because things are happening.
Yes.
So let's get right into it.
Yep, and we start everything with the movie section.
We were going so fast, you didn't even have the notes up.
We're going so fast. Yeah. We start with the Billboard section.
Music
section.
The Billboard section.
We start
Correct.
music section with the Billboard. We start the Billboard with the Hot 100. And the hottest song back at number one, as it should be, Harry Styles, back at number one, as it was.
As it was, as it were, as it will be.
Forever and ever, amen. At number two, Bad Habit by Steve Lacy. Coming in at 3, Late Night Talking by Harry Styles.
It's 2 in the top 5.
Yeah, it is. Coming in at 4, though, is Sunroof by Nikki Yor and Daisy.
I finally heard that song on the radio. It's fine.
It's fine?
It's fine.
All right. And rounding out your top 5, It's About Damn Time by, we'll get there, but Emmy award-winning Lizzo.
Yes.
As for your albums chart, your Billboard 200, at number 1, Un Verano Sin Ti by Bad Bunny.
Yep, back at number 1.
But back at number 2, Dangerous, a double album by Morgan Wallen.
I'm guessing this got a tour bump. I believe he's on tour.
Yeah, he's on tour now.
So, yeah.
Yep. Coming in at 3, The Sick, The Dying, and The Dead by Megadeth.
Mm-hmm.
Dropping down from number 1 to number 4, God Did. Drop down to number 4 on my list by DJ Khaled.
Yes.
And rounding out your top 5, Harry's House by Harry Styles. Harry Styles having a good summer.
Yeah, solid. He has not left the top 5 in a long time.
Yeah. If you didn't like any of those albums, we have new releases.
All right.
Starting with God Save the Animals by Alex G. Red Car, Les Adorables Étoiles by Christine and the Queens.
Yeah, good French.
EBM by Editors. Moss, all caps, Moss, not to confuse with the game, Moss, or the football player Randy Moss.
Or the stuff that grows on a rock, moss.
Or famed actress Elizabeth Moss. This is Moss, the album by Maya Hawke.
Yes, Maya Hawke of Stranger Things fame. This is her second record already, believe it or not.
We also have Flowers by Peter Matthew Bauer.
All 3 of them.
Exister by The Soft Moon. Typical Music by Tim Burgess. And lastly, Coping Mechanism. All caps, yelling at you in one word, by Willow.
There you go.
All right. If you're up there screaming like, why don't you make a Flowers joke and a Willows joke? We use it all on Moss, by the way.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So let's get into some music news.
Yeah.
Starting with some follow-up with Cardi B.
Yeah.
As she has accepted a plea deal regarding the 2018 strip club incident in which the rapper was charged for allegedly ordering an attack on 2 bartenders, Sister Jade and Batty G, at Angel's Strip Club in Queens, New York.
I don't remember if we reported on this back in 2018.
Did.
I think we did, yeah.
We definitely did, but there's just no movement following it. So Cardi B pled guilty to 2 misdemeanor charges for third-degree assault and reckless endangerment, and has been punished to a celebrity punishment
Yeah.
of 15 days of community service.
Yeah.
However, the original incident included 12 charges, including 2 felonies. All 10 of the remaining charges were dismissed. The sisters claim that Cardi believed that Jade had slept with her husband, Offset of Migos, who were performing at the club that night, and ordered her staff to throw bottles and chairs at them. They also claimed Cardi threw at least 1 bottle at them.
Oh.
A source close to the rapper described the attack as spontaneous and says it began after someone threw a drink, adding that nothing was planned. The women were reportedly injured but declined medical treatment. Following the 2018 incident, Cardi turned herself into police and received a summons.
This is another reminder of one, that celebrities usually just get a nice little slap on the wrist instead of actual punishment. And 2, that how much of a difference there is legally between planned, like throwing a bottle at someone, and spontaneous throwing a bottle at someone. Regardless, this is probably how this was always going to end. She's too big of a name to really get more severe punishment than this, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on who you believe in the story. But regardless, what a weird situation. Like, just what a weird combination. Like, a bar brawl ends up going to like a plea deal like this. It's just such a weird thing for Cardi B to be involved with.
Yes, but by accepting a plea deal, that doesn't mean that she now has a criminal record.
Yeah, I guess.
That's part of it. You have to plead guilty to it.
I mean, what rapper doesn't, though? Let's be real.
Oh, so you're saying to give her some more street cred?
Maybe to a certain crowd.
Maybe.
Also, it's not like she has to worry about like not getting employed in the future. She's Cardi B. That is her job.
So does the B stand for bottles now?
God. Yeah, I don't know. Like I was like tiptoeing around. Like I don't know how much I should be joking about this because they did get hurt.
Yes.
These 2 bartenders. So like I don't know how funny it really is, but it's just weird, is what I'll say. It's a weird, complicated thing.
Right, but it went through the justice system. This was the result.
Yeah.
You could you could appeal it. But this is also not a legal podcast.
Yeah, so we have no idea what we're talking about. But hey, that happened. This is the thing that happened, and this is the story.
Yeah, but that thing that happened in New York.
Yes.
The other thing that happened at the other side of the country.
Yes.
California. Wait,
hey.
I think I'm pointing the wrong way.
Yeah.
And that is
here.
that
If we really wanted to point to California,
yes,
we'd point at the soil beneath our feet.
Yes, because the lineup for 2023 Stagecoach Festival was announced and includes one very familiar veteran of the festivities.
Yeah.
That of American Idol fame, Luke Bryan.
Yes.
Who will indeed be making
the original guy who sang about corn.
Yes, who will be making his 4th headlining appearance.
Is that joke 2 weeks too late? I think it might be.
Might be.
Anyways.
In the California desert, along with 2 stars that have made regular appearances in the festival, but have moved up to headliners in the slots since then. That being of Kane Brown and Chris Stapleton. Golden Voice, the producers of the event, announced that the performers and dates of the 2023 gathering just a little more than 4 months after the 2022
I feel like we just did this.
I mean, this always happens. Technically, this was happening in October,
right?
But they're doing it a month early.
Sure.
That's probably because we're going to have big Coachella announcements in October. We're just going to flip-flopping it.
Maybe.
So, yeah, with the announcement of Stagecoach, obviously this means that people are hot and heavy and waiting for that Coachella lineup. Well, it's hot because it's the heat in the desert.
But how much is this going to cost me? Because these things are usually pretty expensive.
Yes, and the prices have actually increased from the past. So prices and passes range from $389 for advanced general admission to $1,500 plus taxes and fees for general admission standing in the pit. Or if you actually want some actual reserved seating, a nice $2,000 for the event.
See, why wouldn't you just buy season tickets to your favorite sports team at this point? When you're getting up to the thousands of dollars?
Oh, because like for a seat licensing to purchase to buy a seat, that's $5,000 just for the right to buy the seat. In addition to buying season tickets year after year.
Yikes.
And if you don't buy for a year for a stadium, you lose your rights.
Oh yeah, well I know that, but I'm saying still, I feel like that's more worth it than this for a one weekend.
I don't know. It's an expensive seat for $2,000.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think though, compared to other festivals, I mean, it's gone up. It used to be 300.
Yeah.
But if you really think like how many acts you get to see for
it's a lot of acts, yes.
Coachella's 600 a ticket.
Yeah, no, for the basic stuff, I understand.
Yes.
But for the seats, it's just exorbitant.
And I have a friend that did the Corral last year. I think they changed the name, but she paid $1,000, and I'm like, you paid $1,000 for like the weakest lineup in Stagecoach history. I will say
it's okay. They can pay $1,500 now for it.
Yeah.
Since I'm being recorded, I think this is a really well-rounded lineup. I
was actually going to say, like, what do you guys think of the?
Well, I have your notes from last night, which is love it.
I mean, I think it's a really good kind of mix of older guys and new. You get Brooks and Dunn, who I thought would headline.
Okay. Yeah.
The
legacy act, right?
Yes.
But
following the footsteps of like Leonard Skinner.
Yeah, Alan Jackson.
Alan Jackson. Yes.
What could have been
Alan Jackson.
Yeah.
My brother, even the second this came out, texted me. He's like, we're finally getting this type of lineup after what could have been in 2020. The lineup that never happened that had like Alan.
But you get Brooks and Dunn, you get John Party, Turnpike Troubadour.
Oh, your favorite.
Which do you want to?
I was gonna say first time for Turnpike, but we kind of knew that because now they have a relationship after Palomino.
Right.
So I enjoy it. People will argue, oh, Luke Bryan's been there too many times. But it's like, when you think of like trying to round out a good lineup, you have Chris Stapleton and Brooks and Dunn, which kind of appeal a little bit to an older crowd.
Right.
You have Kane Brown that really appeals to the older crowd. And I could see Luke. I know it's not just me who could see Luke Bryan 100 times and not be bored. It's so perfect for like a festival. It's high energy the whole time, everywhere.
I also hate to break it to everyone listening, but Luke Bryan has the hits.
Well, that's the thing is he's in the part of his career right now where he's straddling both lines, right?
Yeah.
He's been around long enough for the older heads to know him. And he's still making music that's relevant enough for the younger kids to know.
He's still making waves.
You're right.
In 2012, I saw Luke Bryan. He was playing the afternoon.
Yes, 10 years ago, yeah.
And which that lineup, nothing will beat it because after him it was Blake Shelton and then Miranda Lambert.
You can't give it that.
But
which brings up an interesting point here. So this is a Stagecoach happening in the wake of a schism, I guess you could say, in the country community after the Maren Morris versus Jason Aldean's family feud. So do you think has that affect the lineup? First of all, are there people that maybe you would think that would have showed up here, like a Maren Morris, that are not on the lineup?
Well, they were last year.
Aha. So usually they try to not repeat.
Right. So so she wasn't going to be there.
Yeah, and obviously Jason Aldean's not there. He's another one that's been there.
He's been there before.
He and Luke Bryan are kind of like
they usually
when in doubt, throw in a staple. And that was
that's
not
funny. Chris Stapleton.
That was kind of funny that was people's complaint. I'm like, Luke Bryan's like the perfect, like when you're out in the desert and you're like, you want high energy.
Yeah.
Right.
Chris Stapleton.
You need your festival wear.
Chris Stapleton's going to be awesome to see because like the last time I saw him, it was like 4 p.m. at Stagecoach.
Yeah, but it's a different vibe. I get what you're saying.
It's such a different vibe. And it could be a little interpreted a little bit slow and not really festival-y after Kane Brown and especially Luke Bryan bring the energy.
Kind of reminds me of when you guys were talking about when Casey Musgraves was there. Initially, you guys were like, how is this going to play for a festival? But when you experienced it, the vibe worked because it's a different thing.
Yes.
It was a time and place.
And I know it's sort of like akin to Garth because my brother had told me before Garth was a headliner in 2018, he's kind of better like in like an indoor because the energy is different.
Right.
And it didn't quite portray as well. And part of it was that it was crazy windy and like the thunder was rolling on his little like 90s microphone. But like
wait, that's very fitting.
During that song, it was like
I was like, wow, realistic.
But so it could, I think it's still gonna be awesome.
Oh, sure.
I haven't seen we haven't seen Stapleton since 2016.
Yep.
Since he was at
Stagecoach.
At like 4 p.m. in the light, so it'll be really cool. Brooks and Dunn. I
mean, yeah.
Sunday's fantastic with Turnpike. Don't sleep on Turnpike listeners. Listen to them.
Yes.
Yeah, there you
They
go.
are fantastic. Go to the Palomino and watch them.
Yep.
I think they'll be on the Palomino.
There we go. How long hot summer day.
A long hot
Cool.
Stagecoach.
Well, that sounds wonderful. So that's a rave review preview of the Stagecoach, and you guys will be there in April next year. So report back in a few months here.
Yep, we'll report back.
Yes.
Maybe do a live show from
Maybe
our compound.
Anyway, but let's move on from our Stagecoach discussion into some music we listened to this week.
Yeah. I'll go first and I'll be brief. Scrolling in right into Stagecoach.
Yeah,
into a country
here.
album here. Little Big Town put out a new album called Mr. Sun.
Oh, is there a Mrs. Sun?
Maybe. So this follows their revolution of their previous album from Nightfall now into Mr. Sun.
Oh, they woke up.
Yeah. So last album, I really loved it, Nightfall. Like, I thought everything on it was a hit. Everything was great. They were harmonic. They were into it. I really loved Nightfall. So coming into Mr. Sun, I was one surprised to see that it dropped. And then two, it was like, okay, let's give this a listen. And immediately right off the bat, I got hit with 70s flower power country vibes.
All right.
A lot of steel guitars, a lot of happy, think Electric Light Orchestra, think Mr. Blue Sky. Yeah. So that's what you get with a lot of Mr. Sun.
And you call it Mr. Sun, and that's obviously what you're trying to get at.
Yes, that's a lot of what you're getting here. It feels like a double album because it's an hour.
Okay.
So the first half is all 70s vibe, all high energy. And then you get the back half after Gold, which, by the way, Gold going to be a single. That's like the best thing on that album.
Okay.
But then after that, it gets back into like the country kind of like, okay, each one of us can have our own solo song. And I don't really dig enough of the back half of this album.
Okay.
To really like enjoy it as much as I did Nightfall, which is cover to cover, like a great album.
Sure.
But that first half is such a 70s summer vibe that I was just like cruising down PCH listening to it. Like, like it's summertime. Even though it's like September and summer's ending.
Yeah, wrap it up. But yeah, hey, it's still there here in California where it's going to be hot for the next 2 weeks at least.
But it's not like burning hot, nothing hot like it was before.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Little Big Town out through the album. They've been around. This is their 8th studio album. So if you heard them, you'll like them. If not, this album's so-so. It's not going to get you and grab you into it. Like I said, the first half, like the first 6 or 8 songs are the gems in Mr. Sun.
Yeah.
The back half is more of like your experimental stuff. We're going to see what throw it to the wall, see what sticks.
Okay.
Not a whole lot to like write home about, except for Gold. Gold is going to be that song that comes out of this, outside of Mr. Sun, which is also in here.
Okay. All right. So, Little Big Town fans, check that out. They're coming to Stagecoach?
No, they were there two times ago. So 2018, I think.
All right. Good to know. Let's move on. So I listened to a handful of things. I'm going to start with 2 pop records because it won't take very long talking about these. So yeah, big release week, by the way. There was stuff that I didn't even get to. I listened to the first couple of songs off of the Death Cab for Cutie record. They're back and didn't finish it, so I won't be talking about too much. It's Death Cab for Cutie.
Yeah,
that's more or less what you probably figured it would sound like. But yeah, 2 things I did listen to, though, like I said, 2 pop records that come at it from different angles. Born Pink by Blackpink, the K-pop group.
Yes.
And Hold That Girl by Rina Sawayama. So I'll talk about Blackpink first. So yeah, I've dabbled in the K-pop stuff ever since it started blowing up over here. I listened to a BTS record a couple times last couple years. Talked about that briefly here. Said before that it just, for some reason or another, just doesn't click with me. Well, sad to report, same thing with Blackpink.
Oh no, your old ears are forbidding you from listening to it?
I don't know if it's that. When I listened to this thing, I went into it being like, all right, is this the moment where I get into K-pop? Because on paper, you'd think it'd be something I would enjoy, just like big maximalist pop music. But that's the thing, is the thing about K-pop, and the thing I discovered with BTS too before, is it's not only that. There are songs that are that, and those songs I enjoyed. But there are also songs that are a little different in vibe, and these just don't jive with me as much. There's a lot of rapping, just like on a BTS record. That kind of, not exactly what I'm looking for. And also just like tonally, I was actually surprised with what this thing is. I associated with Blackpink with a lot of younger listeners. There's some stuff that's on this record that's surprisingly not for younger listeners. And I was like kind of surprised by the content on this thing. Not that I'm like a prude about it. I just was like, oh, that's what this is. That's what these girls are doing. Okay, all right. But yeah, not really my thing. But I think people who are big K-pop heads are going to love this. It's very much in that wheelhouse. It's not very long. It's about 9 tracks. Okay. So it's digestible for people who just want to pop in and have a good time and then finish. I think it's a good like end of summer pop record if you want to have that kind of thing. But a better end of summer pop record, in my opinion, is Hold That Girl, Rina Sawayama. So Rina Sawayama has been around for a little bit, hot second. This is her second record proper. She's made a big splash, though, in the pop scene. A lot of people are seeing her as the next Gaga. Ooh. And yeah, that's ultimately what this thing sounds like. It's very big, widescreen pop music. There's a lot of interpolations of existing pop songs. There's a song that uses like the melody from ABBA's "Man After Midnight." There's a lot of borrowing from Bowie and like said Lady Gaga. She's dabbling a lot of different kind of pop sounds, but they're all huge. This record sounds massive. And every song tries to outdo the one that came before it. It's just so fun to listen to front to back. I don't know if it's the best pop record of the year, but it definitely swings for the fences, and I have to admire that about what Rina Sawayama is doing. Also, it's interesting coming from a queer person of Asian descent. It's cool to see that kind of unique perspective in pop music, and she leans into that with her lyrics about like understanding who she is and like trying to accept that and like how that works in her like in society and stuff. And so yeah, there's a little bit of depth to it while also being just like wall to wall, like overproduced, but in a good way, in my opinion, pop music. That's, I think, going to be the dividing line here. I think a lot of people, like for example, the Pitchfork review was very criticized that element of this, which is that they said it seemed like a lot. That every song kind of felt like it was too many things all at once. But I don't know, maybe it was just the mood I was in yesterday morning. I was like, yes, I'm here for this. Okay. Like, give me huge, massive, overproduced songs, and that's exactly what this is. So yeah, if that sounds appealing, check it out. I think people who are looking for that early Lady Gaga kind of feel will love this.
All right. So that's Hold That Girl by Rina
Sawayama.
Sawayama.
Yeah, I had to say that a few times to really get it. But yeah, and then lastly, just really briefly, this is more a harder sell, but I will try to sell it.
It's a harder sell, but this is the one you're going to rave about.
Oh yeah. No, this is probably one of my favorite records I've heard all year. This is Expert in a Dying Field by a band called the Beths. I've talked about the Beths here before.
You have talked about the Beths.
They're a New Zealand band. In 2020, I talked about their last record and loved that one as well. This one's even better. It refines their sound a little bit. It's kind of a compromise between their first and second albums. First one was a little bit more of a raw guitar sound. The second one was more produced and had slower ballads. This one kicks the ballads out the window, keeps the production, and brings back the guitars. And I think that it's definitely a fun, like power pop influenced guitar pop record. If you like When Weezer Is Good, for example, you might like a lot of this. This has elements of that kind of like 90s influenced guitar sound. It sounds amazing. They really have a good ear for melody. I think it's the best the singer, Liz Stokes, has sounded on record. I just saw them in concert last month, so it was really cool to have like early previews of some of the songs on this thing, and they sound even better here. Also, an album that feels very summery, coming out at the tail end of summer. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with this one. So if that sounds appealing, hey, that's here. Expert in the Dying Field by the Beths. So yeah, 3 good records. Maybe one that wasn't really for me, but I think a lot of people will be obsessed with. So bangers this week.
Ooh, we love some bangers here.
Bangers.
All right.
Let's move on.
Move on then.
Speaking of bangers.
Oh boy. Video games.
Yes.
Lots happened in video games, but first we got to talk about new releases.
I do.
Yep, starting with Construction Simulator. Another one of those sim games for everything but the Switch.
Yes.
Deathloop coming to the Xbox Series X.
This was a bit of a surprise launch. Microsoft did not talk at all about Deathloop coming to Xbox this week until basically some people started seeing it on their dashboards, little ads for it. But it makes sense because this week will be the year exclusivity window ends for the PlayStation deal.
Yep.
So yeah, it will be coming to Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass, you'll be able to play Deathloop. Also, this coincides with the first big drop of DLC. So there will be new stuff to do in Deathloop if you already played it on PS5.
You'll also be able to play this on PlayStation Extra and
yes,
Premium Plus, whatever it is.
Yeah, Extra and Premium. Yeah.
Yeah. If for PlayStation, if you have subscribed to those.
Yeah. So yeah, if you missed Deathloop the first round, this is the best time to play it.
We also have Solstice.
Yes,
not the cycling game.
I definitely thought that while I was
for
it.
PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC. The Diofield Chronicles for everything but the Switch.
Yep.
No Place for Bravery.
No place.
On the Switch and the PC. Serial Cleaners for everything, including the Switch. Literally everything.
Yep.
And lastly, Session, Skate Sim. Everything but the Switch.
Yeah.
This is another Session game.
Yeah, in case you didn't know what Session was, now it has a subtitle.
Yep. It's a skate sim.
It's convenient, right? All right, so just some context for the next bit. 3 different companies did like direct style streams this week. Nintendo, PlayStation, and Ubisoft. So we'll break down most of the news from all 3 of those. But before we do that, we have some general bits of other stuff that happened.
So here's the general bits that occurred from before or during, in between.
Or after.
They kind of
all sprinkled among them.
Yeah. So first up, Suikoden 1 and 2 remasters were announced.
This is exciting because the Suikoden series has been kind of sleeping for a long time. A lot of people think that these are classics of the 16-bit RPG era. These are the ones that have like 90-something different characters that you can play as over the course of it. Way before that was the norm in free-to-play games. So yeah, it's cool to see HD remasters of those games.
Yep. Call of Duty Warzone 2.0 got a launch date of November 16th.
So this more or less will coincide with the launch of Modern Warfare 2 2022.
Yes.
To differentiate it from Modern Warfare 2 2009. So this will be a completely relaunch of the Warzone platform using the Modern Warfare 2 engine. And that's also when the Modern Warfare 2 season pass will start as well. So mark your calendars on for that if you are a Call of Duty nut. Bless you.
Thank
you. Again.
Wow, where'd that come from? Okay, so also, if you're a fan of The Sims, The Sims 4 will be going free to play in November.
Yeah, this is very exciting for Sims people. This was a purchase to like a $20 product up until now for the base game. Of course, all expansions and in-game items will still be for pay, but at least you'll be able to jump right in and have a pretty robust Sims 4 experience for free now.
I feel like they did the same thing with Sims 3.
Yeah, they did eventually do that before the launch of 4. So yeah, this is, again, just like Deathloop. If you have been waiting, this is the time to jump in on Sims 4.
Yep, right before Sims 5.
Right. Imagine that'll be announced soon.
Yes, it has to be with this announcement. Also, in a series name change update, the Yakuza series will be renamed to Like a Dragon. This means that Yakuza Like a Dragon will now be Like a Dragon Like a Dragon.
No, I'm sure the existing games will stay what they were named, but going forward.
Yes, this means that you can jump right into Like a Dragon 8.
Yes.
And Like a Dragon Ishin, both of which were announced.
So this is probably a good call. I think the Yakuza which is how it's pronounced, the Yakuza series has not really been about the Yakuza for a few titles here.
Yes.
And also the tone of those games, the name does not really do it any service, because from what I understand is the modern Yakuza games are fun and bright and colorful and are about the stories about these individual characters and less about gangsters and the activities of the actual family. Yakuza. And so this reflects that kind of tone change. So yeah, Like a Dragon 8 will be the next game in the proper series. It will be turn-based, just like 7 was. But Ishin is the interesting one here. It is actually a remaster of a Japan-only release that came out between 6 and 7.
Oh.
And that had the characters from the series basically playing as like people in Japanese history. So like it takes place in like long time ago, but it's the same people playing different characters. It's like as if those characters were actors instead of it's complicated. But yeah, so this is a current generation remake of those games, and they're actually going to be released here for the first time.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're a Like a Dragon fan, I guess is what I have to say now.
Yes.
This is exciting news.
Like a dragon.
Anyways.
All right. In sad news.
Sad, is it?
Well, I don't know. Other sad
if
news.
You're square, I guess.
If you're square. Babylon's Fall will officially be shutting down.
Yeah, this was a live game that Square Enix released last year to very little fanfare. Got panned critically, and then had maybe like 7 people playing it on Steam after its release. So yeah, makes sense that they would shut it down after the year mark. They're just like, no one cared about Babylon's Fall.
Yeah. Also sad news, 343's Bonnie Ross is stepping down as company lead due to a family emergency.
Yeah, this is a sad one. Bonnie Ross has been the person basically at the forefront of 343's stuff. Like, she's the one that would come out for Halo announcements at Microsoft's press conferences and stuff. But yeah, and to see something that seems to be out of her control, something that happened in her family, being the reason for her to step down is kind of sad. And it also comes at a complicated time for Halo. As we know, and we've reported on the show before, Halo Infinite is in a weird spot. A lot of its elements have been delayed, and a lot of the fans are disappointed by multiplayer updates. So to have this happen now, for them to have to restructure their entire leadership, it's a mess. It's just must be wild over there. But of course, our hearts go out to whatever's happening in Bonnie Ross's family, and we hope that gets better. It sounds like, though, it's an issue that is pressing enough for her to need to quit her job. So yeah, rough, but we'll see what happens.
Yep. Yeah, that's always tough to hear.
Yeah.
And lastly, in video game bits, before we get to the announcements.
Yeah.
Splatoon 3.
Yes.
Yes, that's Splatoon 3. Sets a new one-day sales record in Japan.
And reading that story, you might think, oh, for the Splatoon series, right? No. Oh, for Switch? No. Oh, for all video games all time in Japan? Yes.
Wait, really?
Yes, that's what this story means. 3.85 million copies of Splatoon 3 sold in a day.
One day?
In Japan, which is a new record for the country of Japan for video game sales.
It's just like everyone in Japan downloaded Splatoon 3.
Pretty much. I think the math is like 2%. That means like, what was it? Like 12% of people in Japan bought a copy of Splatoon 3
on day one.
Yeah. It's
or probably pre-ordered for it.
It's hard to get 12%. I'm borrowing a joke from the Bombcast, but it's hard to get 12% of any people to do anything in any country. So it's amazing that this happened. People love Splatoon in Japan. It is a phenomenon over there. Like, I think we downplay it because it's kind of a medium-sized hit over here. But yeah, in Japan, it is a cultural moment when a Splatoon game comes out now. It is that big. So yeah, quite a record to set.
So Splatoon 4 in development.
Yeah, I imagine Splatoon is not going
or Splatoon 3 DLC in development
anytime soon. Yeah, and from what I hear, Splatoon people love what's in that game. It seems like if you like Splatoon, it's more Splatoon and it's better Splatoon.
Yay!
So hey, good for you. I have literally never played Splatoon.
I almost played Splatoon.
I probably should. I probably would like it, but it just never happened.
I almost played Splatoon 3, but we'll get to what I played instead.
We'll get
a bit here.
We'll get
there. So now that all the little bits are out of the way, we get to the actual meat of all these conferences.
Yeah, let's go to the chronological order. So let's actually start from the bottom and move up.
All right, so bottom move up, starting with last Sunday's announcements from Ubisoft Forward.
Yeah, we talked about it a bit on the podcast that we were going to miss the news. Well, honestly, we didn't miss much because all the big news we already knew about.
Yep. And all the news that like we care about from a business side with the Tencent thing.
Yeah, well, I guess I don't have that here, but we'll talk about it.
You don't have it here.
Well, we talked about it last week.
Yeah, we talked about it last week.
Check.
So we already talked about that.
Yes.
So from Ubisoft Forward, Assassin's Creed Mirage was officially announced and properly shown.
Yeah.
It will be shorter than most games in the series.
Yeah, which I'm sure is a welcome news for people who spent basically an entire year working through all the content in Ragnarok,
Valhalla.
Jesus, Valhalla and Odyssey and Origins.
It's okay. The right Viking game is coming out later this year.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
But yeah, this features a character from Valhalla and kind of features them as the star. And yeah, it's a more digestible, like 8 to 10 hour experience. Okay. So yeah, Assassin's Creed in a more digestible form is probably appealing to a lot of people.
Yep. And taking a page out of the Master Chief Collection.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Infinity platform was announced.
Okay, so is it that though? Because it doesn't seem like it's that.
Well, it's a service.
Yeah.
It's going to be a service game.
So Ubisoft is being very confusing, and I think a lot of media outlets are even confused about what exactly Assassin's Creed Infinity is. Mm-hmm. My personal understanding about what they were trying to say is it is a development tool, I guess, or like a environment in which Assassin's Creed teams can make Assassin's Creed games that are, again, just like Mirage, in smaller format and iterate on them quickly. And so it's being promoted as a product, but it's not really a product. My understanding is that products will be made through Infinity, and that's something you can buy. I don't know if you can buy Infinity and you get future products. That I'm still unclear about. But anyways, it will be a platform where they will release two announced games. Games.
Well, they're codename games right now.
That will eventually come out. One called Red, which will be the game set in feudal Japan, because, hey, everybody's doing a game in feudal Japan right now, so why not jump on it? And then 2, the one that actually sounds interesting, Hex, or Hexy, I'm not sure.
It's Hex.
Hex, which will be about witchcraft, which sounds pretty cool. And so those will be games, Assassin's Creed games, using Infinity as its platform, essentially.
I mean, they've gone away from doing numbered titles and doing these like individual standalone adventures, but this also means that we're missing out on like the little in-between stuff that happens.
Yeah, and it'll be able to reiterate on them quicker. It'll be more games, more opportunities, different themes, which is good, because half of the fun of Assassin's Creed is being like, oh, I wish they did Assassin's Creed in X, or I wish they would do it here, or I wish they would do it about that. Well, now people will get those faster, and a lot of people will get the Assassin's Creed game that they've always wanted.
Hey. All right. Speaking of getting the games you always wanted, Mario & Rabbids Spark of Hope gets an official release date of October 20th.
I put this here because I wasn't sure if it had an official release date.
I think it did.
So yeah, we've seen bits and pieces of this at previous Ubisoft and previous Nintendo showcases. Yes. It looks like, again, just a sequel to that Mario & Rabbids game. So if you like that one, and I think a lot of people did. I think it was pretty well received. Here's more of that. So more Rabbids being weird and Nintendo characters with guns. So, hey, something for everybody, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that's there.
They also announced Skull and Bones.
Well, no, they announced that years ago, but we're finally getting a trailer. Yeah, more footage of it.
We also have, as you called it, Just Dance 2023.
It's not hard to call.
Okay.
There's one of those every year. This year is no different.
Yes, this year's no different. It was shown. Also shown a Rainbow Six mobile game, which
what's that?
I think it's just Rainbow Six on your phone.
Yeah, it turns out this is Ubisoft probably seeing the success that Call of Duty mobile has had worldwide. Also, PUBG mobile. A lot of shooters have gone mobile. Makes sense that they have the opportunity. A popular multiplayer shooter franchise, they should do it too. And so here's them doing it.
And we also have announcements from The Division.
Yeah.
Which will continue to get updates into its 5th year.
Yeah, that's been a lot of Division.
Didn't they come out with a Division 2?
Yeah, I think this is the 5th year of Division 2 is what they're saying.
Okay.
The game has been around for a while. But yeah, Ubisoft does one thing really well, and that is supporting games long after release. And they continue to support The Division.
Unlike Babylon's Fall.
Yes. Thank you, Square.
Speaking of The Division, we also have The Division Heartland, which is a free-to-play survival shooter.
Right.
That was also shown during the showcase. And last 2 bits here. The Crew 2 will be getting ice tracks.
Yeah, it's another game that is somehow still getting supported after years of nobody caring about The Crew 2.
And lastly, from Ubisoft, Castlevania characters will be added to Brawlhalla.
Yeah, again, they just keep supporting these games that came out like a long time ago. Good for the communities. I guess the communities are strong enough that they want this content to keep coming.
Either that or they're vocal enough to keep having this content.
Maybe. So that was Ubisoft Forward.
Yeah. All right, then we get into... we have more.
Two more shows
directs happened. Including Nintendo Direct.
All right, so this was the biggest probably showcase of the week. A lot of strange things came out of this. Well, let's start from the back and move back in time, I guess. The end. Back in time.
So we're going to start with Fire Emblem: Engage.
Oh no, we're starting to the top then, I guess.
Huh? Okay. Let me know that was the back, right?
Okay, the back of my news, but the top of the showcase.
Okay. So we're going to start with 9 new N64 games that are coming to the Nintendo Switch Online, including GoldenEye 007.
Yeah. Okay.
It's going to be released to all other platforms as well?
Yeah, so let's break this down. So yes, before we get to GoldenEye, 9 new N64 games. This includes some classics like Pilot Wing 64, which I don't think they've ever re-released, 1080 Snowboarding, the Mario Party games, starting with 1 and 2, and I think 3 coming next year.
Ooh.
Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, which nobody thought they were going to do. Although there was some fine print on those. You will not be able to import Pokemon. So this is not a preview or like a spoiler. Oh, Nintendo's going to do Game Boy on Switch. No, not yet.
Nope.
This is just going to be, so if you didn't play those games, there are teams you can rent. There's rental Pokemon that you can play as your teams for the single-player content in Pokemon Stadium. I imagine that will be the focus of this. Also, those games had mini-games that are fun. So it'll be cool to show people the mini-games.
The fun that we used to have.
Exactly. Like, I'm going to show Christy the Sushi Go Round mini-game from Pokemon Stadium 1, which I played so much of when I was a kid. That is literally your lick-a-tongue, and you're grabbing a sushi off of a rotating sushi round. It's so much fun. Anyways, so those games are coming out for this service. But the biggest news was GoldenEye 007. So, context here. GoldenEye 007 was a game developed by Rare, which is a studio now Microsoft owns, and was also, of course, had the James Bond license, a license that no video game company has the rights to anymore. Rare had it for that game. EA got it for several years. Activision had it after that. Now, of course, the rights are wrapped up in MGM, which is now an Amazon property. So they haven't made any individual deals, except for IO Interactive, the Hitman people, we know have been working on a James Bond game for the last couple of years. So all of that is to say the rights must have been a disaster to get to remake GoldenEye 007, which is why we've heard rumors over the last, I swear, 5 to 10 years of an HD remake in some form coming to current platforms. Well, rumors are over. It's finally happening. But the way it's happening is bizarre. Nintendo is getting it through the Switch Online. However, from what I can gather, what we've been told, it is not just an up-res version of the N64 game, like literally every other re-release for the Nintendo 64 has been through the Switch Online service. No, this seems like it is the fully remastered, HD-ified version that other platforms are getting as well, with one catch: online multiplayer. You would think in most situations, the Xbox version would be the one with online multiplayer. Makes sense, right?
Yes.
Wrong.
No.
For whatever reason, this release is getting reverse treatment. The Xbox version, which will be, of course, the one that is in 4K and will be like the prettiest version, and the PC version as well, the one you would think would be the one that would be fullest featured, will only have local multiplayer, will not have an online mode. So that means you can get
split
3 other
screen.
people, classic and 64 style, and play on your couch. There's no matchmaking in those versions. For some reason, and this is baffling to people in the media right now, the Switch version will have online multiplayer as well as local multiplayer.
Ooh.
Meaning that if you want to play online, you have to get it on Switch, which is a weird sentence to say. A lot of people are confused by this, but I think I have the reasoning. One theory that I heard on a podcast was maybe Nintendo dragged their feet on the release of this because they wanted something to sweeten the pot. Like they thought they were getting like a lesser deal.
Else.
So they wanted to do that. I don't think that's it. My theory is the Switch Online service, one of the things that it has promoted is its online multiplayer, even for NES and Super NES games. You can jump on the original Super Nintendo version of Super Mario Kart on the Switch service and do online play with your friends. You've been able to do that since they launched it. So I think it was the opposite, where Nintendo was like, well, you have to put online multiplayer in this because we have online multiplayer for all of our N64 games. And then maybe Microsoft was like, well, wait a minute, that was going to be in our version anyways, because that's what we had done with the Perfect Dark re-release. Mm-hmm. And that's how all the multiplayer games on the Rare Replay platform had done. I wonder if Nintendo was like, well, okay, but like that's not special enough. So it was maybe them, but also like they wanted to instead they wanted to take away. And so I'm thinking that's what it is. So no matter what, the Switch version was always going to have online multiplayer because all of those games do.
Right.
It feels like such a bizarre world for people who are used to, oh no, I'm going to get an Xbox because that's going to be the best version of this. So yeah, it's going to be weird when this thing comes out because you're going to have very like a firm division of what version people want. Regardless, it'll be really interesting to see that thing finally come out. I believe the PC version leaked last year, and you had some streamers being able to play it. Well, now everybody will be able to play it. Oh yeah, and I mentioned Rare Replay. The last weird wrinkle to the story: if you own Rare Replay on Xbox, you will get this for free.
Really?
Yes, it will just show up in your package. They're adding it retroactively to the list of games in Rare Replay.
Ooh,
which is hilarious. And PSA. Rare Replay is currently like $7 on the Microsoft Store. So if you didn't buy it and you missed when it was on Game Pass, buy it because you now get a bonus game, which is probably going to retail for like $15 to $20 by itself.
Right.
So yeah, there you go. That's
a little backdoor knowledge there.
Yeah. Anyways,
Nintendo announced a lot of other stuff as well.
Yeah, more stuff from the Nintendo,
including Pikmin 4 was announced. Kirby: Return to Dreamland, getting a Switch port.
Yeah.
Footage of Wave 3 of the Mario Kart 8 courses was shown.
Yeah, we should talk about a few of those. I know you're trying to speed through it, but
yeah.
Pikmin 4, that's a big announcement. The Pikmin 2 came out in like 2013, so it's been a while for the Pikmin franchise. Return to Dreamland is interesting. That was a Wii game that's getting the remake for Switch. And yeah, and that they showed a couple of the courses for Mario Kart 8's third wave of new courses, which should be coming in a few months.
Yep, Wave 3 of 4.
Yes, for this year. And there's
for this year.
4 more next year.
Yep. Let's see here. We also have other games coming to Switch that were announced.
Yeah, big giant list
including Crisis Core: Final Fantasy VII Reunion.
You talked about that in the Square Enix stuff from last month.
Yep. It Takes Two.
Yep. Game of the year. Question mark. It Takes Two.
Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 3.
Yep.
Resident Evil 7. And Village?
Yes.
8?
Yeah, Village is 8.
I thought Village was Village. 7.
No, it's
8. Village is 8. Yep. So I think the rest of the Resident Evil games.
Basically, the last 4 years of Resident Evil games are coming out to Switch on cloud versions. We should mention.
Yes, on cloud versions. We also have Tunic, which was an Xbox game announced coming to the PlayStation, now coming to the Switch. Octopath Traveler 2.
Yep.
So double your Octopathing. Master Detective Archives: Rain Code.
There's a new game by the Danganronpa people.
Oh, those guys.
Yes, those guys.
and Radiant Silvergun,
a classic top-down shooter coming to Switch.
Yep, all that coming to Switch. Also,
so many farming sims. I just lumped them all together because I couldn't honestly tell you which one was which. There's like ones that you're fairies. There's one with co-op. There's one with like, God, I don't even remember. But if you like farming games, there's plenty of those coming. Oh yeah, and a remake of formerly named Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life, now Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life. So yeah, if you're like farming on Switch, you are going to have a good 2023.
Yep. And then, as mentioned before, Fire Emblem: Engaged.
Yeah.
Engage.
Although you're not too far off, because what I understand is one of the reasons why it's subtitled that is because marriage does actually factor into this game. Engagement rings have powers in this world.
The rings of power?
Yes, they're engagement rings of power. We'll get to rings of power later.
Yes, we'll get to rings of power later. And that was Nintendo Direct.
It sure was.
In the UK, because they didn't show this in the UK for specific reasons.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about Zelda.
All right. Zelda.
Yeah.
Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel will not be named Breath of the Wild 2.
Right. No.
They squashed those rumors.
Legend of Zelda. Of course, they were going to not name it 2. They never do.
Okay. Well, they have
Except for Zelda 2.
Except for Zelda.
Just came to me too late. But anyway.
Well, they've officially announced the title for that game.
Yes.
Tears of the Kingdom.
No, Tears. Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom.
No, they double checked. In the Japanese translation, it is Tears, not Tears.
All right. Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Officially announced as the title. Official launch date currently.
Yeah.
May 12th, 2023.
I think it makes it because, yes, this is confirmation that will not be coming out this year. It will be a spring of next year title.
Which we kind of figured.
Which also leads some credence to people being like, this is definitely coming out with a new Switch, right? Like, there's no way it's not, right? Like, I imagine announce it holiday, release it May. I could see that happening.
You mean besides the Pokemon Switch version that's coming out?
I mean, you know what I mean. Like a proper new hardware. Not a revision of the Switch. I mean a Switch 2, like a new console. Like that's what it seems like this is leading to. It's what they did with Breath of the Wild 1. So not too surprised if that happened this time. But yeah, they also showed some new footage. Seems like maybe some story bits if you are a lore person for Breath of the Wild 1. Maybe you learned some things out of that. Didn't mean anything to me. But yeah, and maybe some new gameplay stuff about like some space elevators that Link can ride up and down. So yeah, but honestly, not that much more footage. We still don't really know what this game is beyond Breath of the Wild again. So yeah, we'll learn more, I guess, when we come closer to that May release date.
But yeah, we have something for everyone to now talk about and theorize about.
Yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom and like a trailer as well for people to break down a 2-minute trailer into 30-minute videos.
Not even 2 minutes, I swear, a minute. If that. So yeah, that was the Nintendo Direct. I think a lot of people were disappointed who were expecting those Zelda Wind Waker remake rumors. And also, the big one, Metroid Prime remake, not even being there. No. It makes you think.
Metroid Dread DLC. Maybe not.
Doesn't seem like it. I feel like we missed that window. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe next time. Sorry, Metroid fans.
Maybe next time. So, what have you been playing? Oh, wait, there's still one last thing.
One last thing, but there's not a whole lot here. I'll let you take the lead on this one because I don't know if did you watch this?
I watched it.
I did not watch this.
I watched it.
I missed it.
PlayStation announced like day of that they were having a state of play.
Yeah.
It was really weird because they said like, hey, coming later today, we're going to do a state of play. And everyone was like,
here it is.
Okay, here it is. So some stuff was revealed, including Project Eve, codename Project Eve, got renamed into Stellar Blade.
I love a Stellar Blade.
A new trailer was shown. Space game.
Yeah.
Space game. Team Ninja revealed Rise of the Ronin, which is another one of those samurai games.
Yeah, they just keep on coming.
So, I'll tell you. Ghost of Tsushima opened up this door.
I think because of how successful it was.
Yep. Then also Tekken 8 was announced.
Yeah.
With a really lengthy cinematic.
Honestly, I think this is the biggest deal of the show. I think that fighting game fans are coming out of the woodwork excited about a new Tekken game. It's interesting to have next year be Street Fighter 5 and Tekken 8.
Yep.
It'll be cool for fighting game fans to have both of those huge franchises put out new games next year.
Yeah, so Tekken 8 was also announced, and then we actually got some more some more knowledge about what the PlayStation exclusive quest was going to be for Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah,
it's a Hogsmeade quest.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Yeah. So again, that game complicated. It's got a lot of baggage, but maybe it'll be good.
And they closed with a new God of War Ragnarok trailer.
All right, how excited are you?
As well as a new exclusive controller.
All right, tell me about how jazzed you are still about God of War.
I was hoping that when they did this announcement that they're going to say we now have more pre-orders for the Jotner edition.
No, of course they're not going to say.
Come on. I was trying. Give me my Jotner.
No. Right. However, they did show new footage. What do you think?
It still looks beautiful. Yeah. They confirmed that you're going to all 9 realms. They confirmed that, hey, look how big and beautiful this is. A lot of lore is going to be thrown into this game.
Cool.
If I can't already stamp it as my game of the year, I'll have to wait 2 more months for it.
Yeah.
Because that's coming out in November.
Oh, I just noticed we have a couple questions in the chat.
Hey, fun question. When we get to the movie section. So we'll get to the movie section.
We will. Sorry, we missed your message. We will get there when we talk about some movies later.
Yes. All right. Well, we'll get to movies in a bit here, but we're still in video games. So that was Ubisoft, Nintendo, and PlayStation all doing the state of play.
Yeah.
All right. So
let's move to thoughts then. We played some video games this week.
So as I was mentioning, I was gonna play Splatoon 3, but I forgot to put it in my queue in time. So instead, I got Digimon Survive.
Oh, okay, all right.
So I've been playing this on the Switch for the past couple of days now. I finally turned in Saints Row because I was not gonna finish it.
No.
I was dumb.
I'm still so disappointed in that game.
Yeah. So Digimon Survive.
Yeah.
This is a more action role playing than it is actual like Digimon fighting.
Yeah.
It's more we're school children and we're gonna like talk with everyone and have extended cutscenes and so much dialogue that by the time you actually get to actually play in the XCOM style Crisis Core gameplay of tactics with your Digimon fighting, that it's so few and far between that I'm like, okay, finally I get to play. And then it's over in like 5 minutes after like 4 turns, and then it's back to more and more dialogue. I want to say this is because I'm in the beginning, but I'm trying to like establish like
I don't know,
all the characters.
I think that might just be this game.
But it might just be the game because there's just so much dialogue. Because even when you're not fighting, there's sections where you have to talk to at least 12 people and complete 12 tasks before you move on to the next section of the game.
And you would think that this would be something that you would like, that you would love, because you are the audience for this game. You are somebody who grew up with Digimon, and you would seem like you're the demographic to be invested in the lore here.
Yes.
But are you that invested?
No. I think it's not invested because they're dealing with a completely new set of kids, and even though like, oh yeah, like this design matches this character and that character, so they're kind of mixing and matching from the different Digimon seasons.
Yeah.
But at the base of it, it's hard to draw me in when the purpose of everyone being together is that they're literally trapped together in the school. So the basic premise is that there's a mudslide that happened that blocked off all the exits. So you and your classmates are stuck in the school in the mountains where Digimon are appearing. So you all have Digimon partnered and are fighting Digimon who appear, but you can't leave. That's why it's called Survive, because you're trying to survive amongst all the Digimon that continue to appear, because you literally cannot leave this situation.
So it's hard to realize the stakes if you're talking for 80% of that.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
because
fair.
they set up that up in the beginning, saying that, oh, we're stuck here, like we can't leave. And then my brain goes, okay, so you can't leave. This means that you're stuck with whatever supplies you currently have. But the supplies you currently have are basically school supplies, and you're stuck in this abandoned school. So how much of these actual like abandoned school supplies is going to allow you, 7 kids, to survive before you actually need more supplies? And that kind of logic takes me out of like, oh, by the way, there's also Digimon running around that can kill you.
Yeah. Ugh. That sounds complicated. So it sounds like it's a good game waiting to be played more in between cutscenes.
It's a lot of cutscenes. Luckily that there's a way to fast forward through all the cutscenes. But one of the interesting dynamics is that when you face Digimon in this the battle system, you can talk to them, and if you answer correctly, you can get them to join your team. So you get come across classic Digimon like Patamon, like Biomon, Gazamon to talk to, and just right over your head, to talk to them, and if they like your answers, they'll join your team. The problem with this, though, is that they give you 4 different answers. So it's basically trial and error of trying to figure out what the correct answer is for this specific Digimon to join your team. Otherwise, you're just going to hop on a wiki and try and figure out, okay, what are the correct answers to get me the best odds here? Instead of what the game wants you to do is continue battling and talking with them and until you figure out, oh, I need to answer this question, this question, this question, and this question. But that gets too tedious and too lost into the weeds of like, understanding a Digimon's personality, where I don't care what I have to answer. I just want them on my team so I can battle with them and digivolve them. I don't care what the answer is that they're asking the question. I just want to know, how do I get them on my team so I can level them up?
Right.
And that's where it's losing me. They also try and add force you to use specific characters and their specific Digimon, but I also don't want to use them.
Yeah.
Because I want to use the team that I want. Basically, I just want to make Cyber Sleuths again. The Cyber Sleuths is more of my
your style.
More my style than Survive is.
Well, I'm sure they will. I'm sure that these games probably were both pretty good hits. So I would imagine that this is not the end of the Digimon game.
No, it's not. But if you want like actual like story-based game, Digimon Survive. If you want more like battling style, like one-on-one battling, Cyber Sleuths, which came out a couple of years ago.
All right. Good to know if you're on the Digimon beat.
Yep.
Speaking of beating, well, not really speaking of beating. I guess speaking of snapping, you've been snapping some pictures.
Yes. So a game that came out a year ago.
Yeah.
Officially now available on PlayStation Plus.
Yes.
So it's part of the free-to-play games if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber. And it's Toem.
Toem.
Toem. Toem.
Yes. What is Toem?
Toem is a adventure game where you're just going around and taking pictures. The world is in black and white.
Oh, okay.
And you're walking around in this black and white world, and you're snapping pictures of everybody, of all the little beings, trying to fill out your little Bulbapedia.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit
Pokemon
Snap-ish, except not on rails.
No, you're not on rails. You're going around, you're talking to people, you're completing different challenges, quests, and tasks of people. And everything that one thing that I really liked about Toem is that everything within the world can completed within the world.
Okay.
Or like I think there's like one task in each place that you have to like advance the story in order to come back and complete it. But that's just for like trophy hunting. Otherwise, all main tasks that the story gives you can complete it in the world before you continue. And I really like that aspect. It's kind of fun. You're just going around taking pictures, helping out people. It's a nice, little quiet game.
Yeah, seems like a nice wind down.
It's a nice wind down game, but it's also moves very fast. I think I completed about 4 hours, and then I 100%ed it within the 5th hour.
Nice. So yeah, nice little digestible thing. Perfect for something that's available on like a service like PlayStation Extra.
It's also something that's like a good palate cleanser, like coming from was it Saints Row,
Right.
where everything was run around, shoot, blow up.
Right.
That this was a nice like
different vibe.
Like a step back. Like games can just be fun. I don't have to have like a main villain chasing me down, or I don't have to have like big world stake. I just go around and take pictures.
There was a hot second last year about games where you took pictures.
Yeah.
There was that one, and then Umurangi Generation, and what was the other one I played? I forget what it was called. Totally, where you're also taking pictures around like a small like island location kind of thing. I don't remember, but anyways, yeah, like it seems like there was a hot second there. Everybody was putting out their picture taking game, but this one seems like
this Pokemon Snap came out 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah, that was last year.
That was not last year.
It was just last year.
That was last year. That was a 2021 game.
2021 game.
I thought it was a 2020 game.
No, because it was announced, I think, at the end of 2020. They came out in 2021. Yeah, it's been a long year.
No, I thought it was a 2020 game because it came out when everyone was in lockdown.
No, it was the year after. Because it was after Animal Crossing.
I thought it was like with Animal Crossing.
No, it was the year after. Anyway.
So it's been a long year.
Who knows? Time, whatever.
All right. Anyways, that's Toem. It's a nice, fun game going out there.
Right. But have you played more of the game that you talked about last week, Disney Dreamlight Valley?
Not a whole lot because I was playing Toem over the week. But when I do open up my laptop and eventually like want to play a game, I do find myself going like, let's go back to the Dreamlight Valley and clear some stuff.
Yeah. Well, I jumped into Dreamlight Valley since we talked last week.
Did I sell you on it?
Yeah, I think so. And then also, like I said, our resident podcast cozy game expert, friend of the show, Christy, also jumped into Dreamlight Valley. And it is all we've been able to do all week. I have procrastinated on so much moving shit that I have to do because Dreamlight Valley exists. We are all in on this game.
Really?
Yeah, everything you said last week is still true. It's like a combination of Animal Crossing's like gameplay loop plus a little bit of like a farming game like a Stardew Valley. Of course, Dreamlight Valley is very clearly trying to evoke that, but without like the stress of an actual farming game. So it's but with the additional layer of like RPG style quests. So you're getting story on top of Animal Crossing gameplay. And the story is all linked into, and the quests are all linked into stuff you would have done no matter what. Crafting items, gathering things, going to locations in your little village area, buying things. But of course, all of this with the Disney dressing. So if you're excited about, I get to meet Wall-E and invite Wall-E to my house, this game is made for you. This game is literally for those Disney adults who want to live with. In fact, even the story is introduced as you are a Disney adult who's stressed out at their job. What if you fell asleep and ended up in Disneyland?
So you go to your cabin and then you're like magically transported away to
fall
the
asleep.
Dreamlight
You
Valley.
fall asleep and you dream about Dreamlight Valley.
Yes.
And you make all this shit up about living with your favorite Disney characters. But that's the thing. On its face, this should be a basic ass mobile game, and it feels like it should be. But they put in some surprising amount of work into this game to make it a pretty quality experience. Do I have gripes about the frame rate on Xbox Series X? Absolutely. It's a locked 30, which is disappointing. It doesn't look good enough to have a locked 30. Like it looks pretty mobile gamey. So there's no reason for them to do that when apparently on every other platform it is a 60 frames game. Don't know what's going on there. But two, and yes, does it have issues? Absolutely. There are a bunch of bugs in this game. I had one memory that I unlocked in Merlin's house that got stuck under his his
couch,
under his piece of furniture,
Yep.
And they just patched that out in 2 days ago's patch, and I was like, oh, thank God. So they are working on bugs, and it's not a perfect game in any way. I think also a lot of people might bump against how mobile gamey it can be at moments. A lot of quests are very grindy. A lot of quests are like, get 70 of these things from this thing that you have to fish to get. I'm like, come on, Moana. Don't make me get 70 of these fibers. I don't have this time. But it's designed that way because it wants you to play over time. It doesn't want you to play 4 hours a day. It wants you to play, like what you said, like an hour a day, like over 30 minutes a day. Just stop in, do a quest here or there, check in with your friends, and then move on. But the treadmill is well designed enough that if you want to, you can spend 4 hours playing this game. And I have already. It's pretty addictive, the loop that they've developed for this game.
Yeah. Also, like the amount of quests and like the urgency that they provide for you is not urgent enough to where like, oh, I need to get this completed right now.
The stakes are never that high.
They're very low stakes. It's very like you said, like fish for here. Like, I don't want to like sit here being fish.
Yeah.
I'll fish for halfway, leave, come back, finish the half for some other time.
Yeah, it's the Animal Crossing game that I feel like everybody wants, but Nintendo will never make, which is an Animal Crossing with stakes, essentially. I mean, again, they're very low, but it's an Animal Crossing with a story, is what this is. And so if that sounds like a game that you want to play, there's a pretty low bar of entry, too, because like we said, it's on Game Pass. So if you have an Xbox and you like Animal Crossing and those kind of cozy games, it's almost a no-brainer to try this out. It's a better game than it should be in almost every way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm playing so much of it. I'm like, oh God, is this going to be on my top 5 this year? Oh God, what is happening to me? It's making me into a monster.
Welcome to the Disney World.
Yeah, I'm like, and I'm not even that much of a Disney adult anymore. Like, I do appreciate it. I mean, here on this podcast, we've done several podcasts dedicated to ranking Disney things.
Yes.
So it's not like that I don't like Disney. Also, it got us to rewatch Frozen last night.
Yeah.
Chrissy was just like, hey, I want to watch Frozen because I've been thinking about Frozen. I got Kristoff in my village, and now all of a sudden we're thinking about Frozen again. And so, yeah, Dreamlight Valley is a quality product, at least for the most part. It has some issues, and they're ironing them out. But other than that, yeah, I'm surprised how much it's grabbed us. We're in it, and we're probably going to play more of it.
Yeah. I wonder, because you're obviously playing a lot more than me, which is surprising for a game. When you're going to hit basically the end of, I've locked all the characters that I currently have. Right. Where are they going to add more content?
And that's going to be the question. I feel like that this game lives and dies by being updated.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I have enough locations still on the map that I have yet to unlock, plus like staircases upon staircases of realms that I still have to visit. And so I don't imagine seeing an end anytime soon, but I could be wrong.
Right. I mean, eventually, because you need to farm your Dreamlight to unlock all of those.
Right. It's going to take a while.
How much of that is going to be like,
that's the thing.
500, like 200, 200, 200, 200.
Which is back to grinding.
To unlock a $5,000 light area.
I feel like that is going to be ultimately the line that will be too much for some people and not enough for others. Is how much you're willing to grind for these quests. Mm-hmm. If you have the time and you put on a podcast, I think it's a perfect podcast kind of game for grinding. And I think I really enjoy that. But I'm also somebody who loved Borderlands 1 because of that, how much of a grinding game it was.
Right.
So yeah, some people are not going to cotton to that, but hey, turns out it works for me. So yeah, Dreamlight Valley, check it out. It's a little bit of a sleeper hit, I think. I think people are going to be really surprised with, in a Genshin Impact style way, with how much of a quality product this kind of low stakes thing is.
Well, even Genshin Impact kind of limited you initially, but then they eventually added more stuff.
This has got that vibe to it, but it is a paid product, unlike Genshin Impact. So yeah, I don't know. Check it out. It's cool. It's cooler than I thought it would be.
Anyways, I have. Any other games you've been playing?
No, that was the game I played this week, which meant I did not play anything else. So yeah, it's looking even less likely that I go back and finish all of the stuff that I started. So hopefully I'll get to it.
So little bit of sneak peek here.
Yeah.
I've been playing a mobile game that I got pre-access to, but I can't not allowed to talk
NDA!
about it. Yes, even though clearly one person listens to the show. Thank you.
at least one.
At least one. But I can talk about it next week, and I can. I don't know if I can tell you even the name of it.
Don't tell me.
All right. I'll say that it was shown earlier this week.
Okay.
I won't tell you where it was shown or whatever, but it was shown. I got access to it because it said you can sign up to get access, so I got access, and I've been playing it for the past week.
Good to know. Let's move on.
All right.
Before you break any NDAs.
Nope. All right, let's move into television.
Yeah, let's into the television section, and we always start the television section with the sports corner right behind us here. And baseball making the most headlines this week as Aaron Judge just continues to dominate with an obscene amount of home runs.
He's leading in home runs. He's leading in ERA. He's leading in on-base percentage. He's basically leading in pretty much every category.
Did you see, though, why that might be the case, though? Somebody put up some stats that I thought were fascinating. The players that have had the most down the middle in the heart of this the strike zone pitches, he's number 2 on that list.
Yep.
Stop pitching to Aaron Judge. Just walk him. Don't pitch to him anymore. He's done. Why are you pitching to Aaron Judge? Sorry, that's like I'm just completely like, why? What if you
could pitch around Shohei Ohtani,
right?
You could pitch around Aaron Judge.
Treat him like you do Trout and Ohtani. I don't understand why no one is doing that with Aaron Judge. Do you think like there's just a curiosity to see how many he can hit? Like,
no, because curiosity is actually going to our next story, Albert Pujols.
Yeah, that's true. We'll get there. But yeah, what do you think is going through like management's mind of these other teams, especially their rivals in their division? Why do you think pitchers are pitching to him?
Because if they pitch to him, he hits a home run, he can clear the bases.
Yeah, but is that worth it in the way the game is played right now?
Especially if it's just him and it's one run. You don't want to get him on base.
I would understand that next season when it's going to be when it's going to be hard, easier to get
shorter
hits.
Bases, yes.
Well, that, but also easier to get hits with the shift being turned off.
Yes,
essentially. But this year, though, with the game played as it is, home runs are only a piece of the puzzle, right? Like, I don't know why would you let somebody get so many home runs? Why?
He's closing in on the Roger Morris record of 60.
Yeah, I bet he does it too. He's got a few weeks of games to play.
Yeah, then he has 70 to get to like the steroid era.
And then playoffs. Because you know the Yankees are going.
Well, they're not clinched yet.
No, but
there's still a chance they can lose.
Come on. Let's be real. They'll show up somewhere.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just Aaron Judge is having a ridiculous season, which means that, again, you have that conversation, just like last year, about the MVP race in the American League. Does Ohtani like eke out by the fact that he is a fucking unicorn and he's doing something nobody has ever done before? Or are people distracted by the glitz and glamour of the home run number for Aaron Judge?
You have Aaron Judge at number 1 in all the batting stats, but then Shohei Ohtani is at number 3.
Yeah, and the pitches.
And pitching at number 2.
And he's fantastic at pitching. I am afraid that
he won't get back-to-back
will be
MVP.
Overlooked.
He won't get back-to-back MVPs? Oh no, our poor boy. Whatever shall we do?
But he deserves it. That's the thing, is that he 100% deserves that spot. But people are going to look at be distracted by Aaron Judge's number and be obviously it's Aaron Judge. No, not obviously.
It's the Miguel Cabrera and Mike Trout argument, where that Miguel Cabrera had more home runs, but Mike Trout had the triple crown.
Mike Trout is Mike Trout.
And didn't win because Miguel Cabrera had more home runs.
It's just, I'm very afraid. I wasn't afraid last year. I was pretty confident, and I was right. This year, I don't know. I think people are distracted by the shiny keys over here, which are Aaron Judge's numbers.
Yeah, it's the war fight all over again.
Yeah. Anyway, but yes, as you mentioned, though, the other home run watch here is Albert Pujols, as he is only 2 home runs shy of the big 700 number. Will he do it?
Yes. People have been giving him down the pipe pitches.
That, yes, makes sense. Yes.
Basically, ever since he hit 690.
Yeah, everybody was like, all right.
And with like the last month in left in baseball, people have been like, okay, let's try and get him over that 10 home
But again,
run.
because the context, though, I get it.
Yeah.
Because he's a legend in the game. He's been in the game forever. And also, he probably will retire for sure if he gets this 700.
Oh, yeah, mark. He's retiring.
He's done.
It'll be one of, I think 5 people who've hit 700 home runs.
So, yeah.
It's an obscene number to hit 700 of anything.
Rarefied air if he can get there. But, and yeah, that'd be nice. It's a nice headline.
Yeah.
I like that for Albert Pujols. It's truly a machine.
Yes, truly a machine.
Yeah.
He's 2 home runs shy with about 2 weeks left of actual baseball to be played.
He'll do it.
There's actual bets going on in Vegas of when he will hit it.
Yeah.
Right now, the current favorite odds are that he'll hit it in Dodger Stadium as they play next week.
Save it for home.
And it's not even his home.
You know what I mean? His current home?
No,
that's right. Not. Oh my God, that's right. He's on
the Cardinals.
Oh my God. Yeah, wow. I guess to do it in LA because he was in LA for so long.
Because he won a championship in LA.
Yeah, maybe that's why.
Maybe that's why.
All right. Sure. Whatever they do it, he'll make it. He'll get there.
He'll get there.
Yes.
It'd be great if he does it in the same game.
Yeah.
It's a 2 home run game.
Yeah,
just to, like,
that'd be great.
Just like, okay, I hit
Done,
700.
Done.
Done. Take me out of the lineup.
Because the Cardinals are not going to the playoffs.
No.
But who is, though?
No, but that's the thing, though, is that because like they know they're going to the playoffs, and they're playing teams that aren't going to the playoffs.
Right, so it doesn't matter.
It's like, hey, this game really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Let's help the one guy who can get like a history stat here.
Yeah. Meanwhile, though, teams that are going to the playoffs, and we've talked about how these were pretty much shoo-ins from the start. The Dodgers and the Astros have both secured their place. They will be the ones to beat.
Yeah. Unlike the Astros, who have just secured a playoff spot, the Los Angeles Dodgers are the first team to clinch their division, the NL West.
Yes. So, no real news here. Just we knew that was going to happen. But
they crossed that 99.9999%
exactly
threshold.
So we are watching currently the wild card spot for both those divisions. Who knows what's going to happen? If the Angels sweep the Mariners this week, maybe that looks a little different, but I'm pretty sure that won't happen.
You mean if we sweep, we bump up to a full percentage chance?
Hey, maybe. Yeah, 0.09 isn't so glamorous, but maybe 1%. That's something.
Yep.
You're saying we have a chance.
You're saying there's a chance.
Playoffs.
Full percentage chance.
No, there's not a chance. We're getting eliminated today. Just watch it. Anyways, playoffs are just around the horizon. So get ready for October baseball. Meantime, anything else happening in other sports realms?
Week 1 in sports happened, which means injuries are abound now. Check your fantasy
You said
team.
sports. I think you mean NFL.
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, week 1 of sports. Is
Yeah, week 1 of sports.
It's the only,
it's the only sport that
it's
matters.
the only sport that matters. NFL happened. College football currently happening as well. It's pretty much everyone's so hyper-focused on MLB right now because it is coming down to the last 2 weeks, end of the season, before playoffs start in October.
But yes, football is happening.
Football is happening, and as we get closer to October, basketball and hockey will be starting getting into their respective sports as well.
Indeed.
And a little side note, no champion on the WNBA yet. Game 4 will be played later today. It's a 2-1 split.
So we will talk about that next week once we have a winner.
Might have a champion next week.
Cool. All right. Let's move on then.
But we do have champions.
We do have champions. And because to champions of television,
yes.
Because our first story is, of course, the winners of last week's Emmys. The Emmys happened on Monday night, and Kenan Thompson hosted a very, very strange feeling ceremony.
A weird opener.
Yeah, definitely. When he came out and Ben was like, "Hey, we're gonna dance to remixes of television themes," I knew it was gonna be a weird night, and a weird night it was.
Yes,
there were several repeat winners, but there were some surprising upsets. Ted Lasso did win comedy series out of nowhere again. Lead actor Jason Sudeikis, of course, took his Emmy as well, and supporting actor Brett Goldstein as well. So yes, Apple TV Plus, big night for them. Mm-hmm. White Lotus was the limited series sweep, taking most of those prizes. Supporting actress Jennifer Coolidge won for that.
Well deserved.
As well as lead actor Murray Bartlett and writer-director Eric White.
Yes.
Well, won for those categories.
Yes, for both writing and directing.
So big night for HBO. Speaking of HBO, Succession was your big winner for drama series.
Again.
Supporting actor Matthew McFadyen also won again. Categories in those categories. But some surprises included Netflix's Squid Game. Star Lee Jung-jae became the first Asian actor ever to win lead actor in a drama.
Congratulations.
And meanwhile, Zendaya took her second prize for Euphoria, and making her the youngest two-time winner of any Emmy. So congratulations to Zendaya.
Yeah.
Other notable
Everyone
wins.
loves Zendaya.
Yeah. Other notable wins include Hack star Jean Smart for lead actress in a comedy, Amanda Seyfried for lead actress in limited series.
For the Dropout.
Yes. Julia Garner in supporting actress in a drama series. And the big wins.
That was Ozarks.
Yes, for Ozark. Some surprise happened in the competition program as Lizzo won for Lizzo's, what is the name of the show?
It's called Lizzo.
Watch Out for the Big Girls.
Yes, as mentioned before in the music section, Lizzo is now an Emmy winner.
Yes.
Winning for competition program.
Yeah. And she seemed just as shocked as we were because you thought this was a shoe-in for the Amazing Race as it usually is.
Amazing Race during COVID?
Yeah,
yes.
No. Lizzo surprised everybody. Strangely on a show that was airing after the awards on NBC. Makes you think. Anyways, meanwhile, oh no, I guess it wasn't on NBC. It's Amazon Prime.
It's Amazon
Prime.
I think
they do have a stake in it. Anyways, Abbott Elementary also surprised everyone by winning a couple of awards, including Quinta Brunson's writing for the pilot and comedy supporting actress for Cheryl Lee Ralph. Did not see that coming at all, but I'm glad to see that show winning some awards.
Yep. Quinta Brunson was also nominated for lead actor or lead actress in a comedy, but lost to Jean Smart.
Yeah.
But got the Emmy anyways, and then got the controversial Emmy.
Yeah.
With Jimmy on the floor.
Yeah, Jimmy Fallon should have known that bit was over.
Not Jimmy Fallon.
Sorry, it's Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Kimmel should have known that bit was over and moved on, but no, he wanted to commit. And some people thought that was disrespectful. I don't know. I don't even think about that until I saw people saying that. So I don't know.
I don't know.
But
they couldn't go to it's because they couldn't go to a wide shot. They had to keep it on a close up.
Yeah.
But that's what you want anyways when you kind of like significantly win an award like that. Especially being a first time Emmy winner and a shock. You want the close up. You don't want to go to a wide shot.
Yeah. But anyway, overall, weird vibe to the night. And I'm glad that there were some surprises. It made it feel a little less predictable than I think it has in the past.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, though, it was apparently the least watched Emmys in history. A new low for the series. And I think that maybe for two reasons. One, it was on NBC, not necessarily the biggest network right now. Yep. And two, it was on Monday. I imagine a lot of it was because people expected it to be on Sunday, saw football, turned it off, and then did not know it was airing on Monday.
Yes, Emmys competed directly against Monday Night Football.
Which surely
Week 1 Monday Night Football.
Yeah. It was a bad idea for NBC. They should have just moved it back a week. They probably couldn't because of the place they were renting, which also looked like a rinky-dink establishment this year. It just was a weird-ass Emmys.
It was a dressed-up ballroom.
Weird, yeah, it did have that feel. So yeah, an off year, I think, in a lot of ways. But congratulations to the winners because those still count.
Yep, you still count as a win, even no matter where you got it.
Yes.
Yeah. Speaking of like coming up against football, usually week 1 in football, we have 2 Monday night games, but that's not happening. Instead, we got Monday Night Football week 2 for back-to-back games.
Right.
Coming up on Monday.
So forward.
I think it was because of the Emmys.
Maybe.
That someone realized, hey, NBC, we can't really have 2 Sunday games if we're clashing.
But it didn't matter anyways.
Fire whoever was doing the scheduling
on
NBC.
Sure. Come on, NBC. Let's move on to our second story. Speaking of NBC, flagship show SNL Saturday Night Live is on track to return
for Variety series
against one competitor. So does that really count? But yeah,
there can only be one.
Their new series season will premiere in just a couple of weeks, but until then, there is some more cast news. Melissa Villaseñor, Alex Moffat, and Aristotle Atari will not be returning for the next season.
Tears.
That brings the departure number for the cast to 7, following the already announced exits of Adie Bryant, Pete Davidson, Kate McKinnon, and Kyle Mooney. In their place will be 4 new featured players joining the cast. They have added Marcelo Hernandez, Molly Kearney, Michael Longfellow, and Devin Walker. Molly Kearney, in case you recognize that name, has appeared on Amazon's A League of Their Own and will become the first non-binary cast member and uses gender-neutral pronouns, they, them. Marcelo Hernandez has opened for the likes of Tim Dillon and Gilbert Gottfried and has appeared on Telemundo's Acceso Total. Michael Longfellow appeared on NBC's Bring the Funny, hosted by Kenan Thompson. And Devin Walker has appeared on Comedy Central and writes for Big Mouth, Netflix's animated show.
Hey.
The new season will premiere on October 1st, and the host/musical guest is still to be announced. So look forward to that. Again, like I always say, always interested to see their approach when they do a new season.
Mm-hmm.
A little disappointed that they're not mixing up a weekend update. I guess Michael Che wasn't serious when he said he was done. We'll see. I don't know.
We'll see.
I feel like he was pretty confident about that. I don't know. And this is just not a story. I don't know. We'll see, I guess, on October 1st.
I mean, we'll see what the new cast is. We'll see how the new writing is on October 1st, and still waiting to see who that first guest, both host and musical guest, will be.
We'll see. All right, let's move on. You watched a few things on television this week.
Yes.
I tried to finish one of these things. I think I got a couple more episodes left.
To which one?
Harley Quinn. I'm not quite done.
So this one is actually a shorter season. There's only 10 episodes.
I think I'm on 8.
Okay.
And so I have a couple more.
It's interesting where they went with season 3 because it's not much Harley Quinn being more of a villain, being more of supporting for Poison Ivy, who is the main villain.
I think.
And there's a heel turn.
The vibe I'm getting in this season is that they wanted to turn it into a more of an ensemble show.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to be like, we can do an entire episode about an ancillary character and make it work. And they do that here.
The Shark King episode?
Well, then, and the Joker episode.
Yes.
Like they're experimenting more with it being like, we have this big cast of characters. Let's take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it works for it.
It's also one of the few animated shows on HBO Max that has yet to be canceled.
Right, yeah. Fingers crossed. They just announced season 4 is coming, so we'll see. But yeah, I like it. Do you think they wrapped it up well? I haven't got to the end yet.
So you're so you still have 8, 9.
I think I just finished 8, so I think I need 9 and 10.
Okay, what happened in 8?
So there's the Joker one, and then the one after that is the one with the after the King Shark stuff.
Is it the one where they're in Bruce Wayne's mind?
Yes. I haven't finished that one quite yet.
Okay, so that's one you're at.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It goes some places.
Okay.
For episode 9 and 10, I was not expecting it.
Okay.
Even when they announced, even when they showed it, I was like, wait, is this accurate for DC? Is this accurate for where they're going?
Yeah, I don't know.
It feels a bit weird of a turn, but then again, Harley Quinn as the show is a bit weird for a turn in the DC universe.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It's weird in a good way. It's not weird in like, oh, I'm going to turn this off. Like,
it's amazing.
This isn't the DC that I know.
It's amazing the freedom that they're allowed on the show. The things that they can do, especially with the one I'm watching right now, just the idea of like, let's make an entire plot based on how wild it is that we have to see the origin story of Batman over and over and over again so much. Let's make that a joke, basically. Yes. Let's make fun of that exact premise. It's really cool. Like, obviously, something like this would never happen in Marvel. Like, they barely let that MODOK show exist for a season before canceling it. Something like this, and as far as they go with these characters, they would never be able to do with Marvel's characters anymore.
Oh, no. This is like DC on another level. This is how DC differentiates itself from Marvel.
Right.
This is where you take the villains, the rogues gallery, and not only just make them likable, but
somehow
like put them into extreme situations and make meta commentary on everything.
It's neat. It's one of those few shows right now that it is doing meta commentary, but in a way that doesn't feel forced.
No.
And I think that's why I like it more than like a Rick and Morty or like its equivalents. It's adult, but without being like, oh, do you see how edgy we're being? No, it's smart in the way that it's edgy. It's like edgy with a point, with a message that it's trying to be.
It also knows when to pull back and when to basically explain to the audience, this is what we're trying to get at.
In fact, honestly, I've been shocked with how less violent this season is compared to 1 and 2. I feel like they really leaned into the ultra violence in those first 2 seasons. This one, they feel like they don't need to do it as much anymore. Yeah. They're like, no, this is about the characters. We know you're invested at this point. And we are, weirdly enough. It's like, it's more well written than it should be.
It feels very similar to WandaVision, where it's not about the action, it's about the character interaction.
But it's not doing the thing that WandaVision does, which is at the end, like, no, let's pull the lever and make it super comic booky. This never feels that way. This feels like, no, we're telling a story first, and the comic book stuff, the references are on the edges of that. And if you get it, you get it, but you don't have to get it. Like, there were moments in that in the one that I'm watching right now where I'm like, this I know is got to be a specific reference to either an episode of a television show I haven't seen or a comic I have not read. It's set up so specifically, the scenario, that I know this is specific, and the people who get it are going to be like, oh, it's that. I don't get it, but it still works because there's also the story that's happening within that context that I'm like, okay, I don't have to get the reference because it's still interesting television. And that is the line that they're walking, and I think they do a good job.
So yeah, if you haven't watched Harley Quinn at all,
it's good. Turns out
it's all on HBO Max. Go
Yeah.
watch it. So yeah, even though the first 2 seasons are 13 episodes, season 3 is cut down to 10.
Right.
I don't know why they did that.
Maybe it's because
because HBO Max.
Yeah, maybe it's because also they knew that they were going to get a pipeline to make more quicker.
Right.
And so they did the Rick and Morty thing and just like, let's just do 10 here. And then when we're ready to do the next 10, we'll give it a little bit of breather. And then we got their next 10 already in the pipe.
Right.
To put out.
Okay. Yep.
But you watched a couple of other things.
Yes. So as I mentioned last week, I was going to force myself to finally log into Amazon Prime.
Yes.
Specifically for Thursday Night Football. Not listed here as a thought, but Thursday Night Football premiere actually happened. And
it was football on Thursday night.
Yeah, but hello, streaming technical difficulties.
Oh, no.
Hi. Did you not test your product before you wanted to launch it?
That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. Come on, Amazon.
My Twitter was filled with everyone having technical issues with Amazon. Not just in their main broadcast, but also with their Dude Perfect broadcast. By the way, they partnered with Dude Perfect, so that's a thing. Because they saw like how like fun people were having with the Manning cast, which is also still a thing for Monday night. So they wanted to do that as well, where they have like the hip young people who want to watch it with like commentary and like they're watching it with their bros. There's Night Football.
I gotta hope that never happens in baseball. Anyways,
we already get Apple TV Plus baseballs.
That's right. We do already have that. Oh,
the exclusive games that black out even if you're in a local market.
Oh my god, that broadcast sucks so much.
Yes, it does.
It looks beautiful.
Yes, it does.
But I don't want to hear what they're talking about. Anyway.
Yes, it does. Anyways,
send their cameras to other certain.
Yeah. So for Thursday Night Football, Amazon decided to get some actual like representation of actual football players onto their broadcast, including the likes of Tony Gonzalez, Sherman, Richard Sherman.
Richard Sherman.
Yes. Not the other.
Not that Richard Sherman.
Yes.
The football playing one.
The football playing one, Richard Sherman, as well. And Big Wit was also on there as well, from the Rams. So they got some names behind it, some like actual football players. So you get more of like in-personal analysis than you kind of would for an announcing game. But the actual like outside of like the broadcasting, it was fine. It was a lot of lead up, a lot of hype, as you would expect for a first time showing on a streaming service. Congrats, Amazon Prime, on your $1 billion deal. But I don't know how much I'm going to be tuning into this. Until I'm like actually forced to tune in, because I think it was also like co-aired on Fox for this Thursday Night Football. But they won't do that for every season or for every week. They only get 15 games because they cut off the first one because as the opening game, they cut off the last one because everyone plays on Sunday, and they don't get the Thanksgiving game. So it's 3 games, which means out of the 18 games that they get played, they only get 15 of those for Thursday night.
Okay.
Yeah, Thursday night's available on Amazon.
It's a thing.
You don't have to watch the pre-broadcast, or if you want to watch it Dude Perfect, it's there.
Do they do it in slow-mo?
No, but they do actually do stuff in halftime.
Okay.
Like their stunts and other stuff. It's entertaining if you're into Dude Perfect.
If you like that kind of thing.
Yeah, if you like Dude Perfect.
I'm not a YouTube person, as we'll get into in a little bit, so I don't know a whole lot about them. But not my thing. Anyways,
because I was able to log into Amazon.
Yes, because you actually have to see the thing that we've been waiting to talk about.
Yes, Making the Cut, season 3.
Still not what I'm talking about, but okay.
Okay, yeah. So Making the Cut is back. More fashion. This is the one thing that we could agree on to watch. So we binge watched season 3. I don't like who won. I never liked who wins these things. Then again, I don't get fashion.
Sure.
I mean, check out the shirt I'm wearing. It's a graphic of a bear for those of you on the YouTube. That's my level of fashion and style.
Yeah, that's fine.
So when the person who wins walks out in pants that are upside down.
What?
Pause for effect.
What?
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out the physics of that. Pants that are Pants that are upside down?
Yes.
So they terminate before.
So the pant itself is like a dress that cuts off on the knees for like where your like waist would be. But then like it comes up and then the legs are like sticking out on both sides. So the pants are upside down.
Oh, that's what you mean.
Yeah.
I was imagining, so imagine like the belt line of pants being at your feet and the ends of the pants up your legs. That's what I was imagining.
Well, there's that too. There's also the winter, like your entire look is an entire pant leg. Where like the dress of the top is like stitched like the waist of the pants.
Like
but
super
then,
high-waisted pants.
Yeah, but then it's just like a single pant leg all the way down in a dress style.
This is weird. Anyway, so
this is fashion.
Cut.
That is your winner of fashion.
That's the best fashion. Everybody knows that.
I mean, either that or the guy who put everything in neon green and pink.
Ooh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's making the cut.
Making the cut. I still don't know fashion.
Yeah, but anyways, the Amazon thing that you actually watched here.
Yes. Rings of Power. Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power.
Yeah.
Finally got around to watching it. 4 episodes are up as of this recording, and I've watched all 4 hours of it. And guess what? There's still another 6 hours coming.
Woo!
Or so I've been told.
So you've been told.
All right. This is clashing of my ideals in the weirdest of ways.
Okay.
And we knew this going into it. Rings of Power has $1 billion production budget into it because they're planning to make 5 seasons of this.
Yeah.
Or so they've said. That being said, with that kind of money behind it, you expect prestige television. You're going to get high quality movie quality out of this.
You hope.
In the acting and the set design, it's all there. In the CGI, in the set design, in every little nook and cranny, every little reference. Yeah. All the money is in the production here. It's all in the set design. Everything in this thing looks beautiful. It is fantastic. I'm in awe of several shots here that they're able to pull off and thinking that, wow, this is a TV show, and I'm getting this kind of quality.
Yeah.
That's what I expected. That's what I want, especially when they showed the trailer. Like, this is everything that you want from a movie in a TV show. However, because it is a TV show, you get constantly stuck in TV tropes.
Mm-hmm.
And even the bad ones, to where you're sitting with characters probably longer than you should to, they say, flesh out the characters, but in movies, because you're only limited to 2.5 hours or 2 hours, that you have to get dialogue across as quickly as possible to move the plot along. In TV, you don't have to do that. You can take time. You can use, you can sit with characters more. You can get more dialogue. You get more backstory, more fleshed out, which is great. I like that in a TV setting. But when you're watching something that looks like a movie and you get that kind of TV dialogue out of it, where they're purposely stretching scenes and they have 6 stories, very Game of Thrones style, all going on at the same time. And eventually, what I mean by eventually, the 4th episode, they finally start to meet up and plotlines start to converge. That means you just got through 4 hours of preamble, backup, setup, just to get to the actual plot of, hey, these characters that we could have met and given you a quick backstory in a movie of a 5-minute montage or a 2-minute montage just to quickly explain their backstory, or someone can tell you and not show you. We're instead going to pull it out into a full 20 minutes of this episode and 10 minutes of the next episode and 15 minutes of the next episode. So by the time you get to them actually meeting, you have 1 hour of setup for each character. And then you know where they're trying to go next.
So do you think it's an exercise in twiddling your thumbs until the next episode to a certain extent?
No.
Is there interesting things happening in these conversations at least?
It's an exercise in expanding on the lore that is there to provide extra drama to provide extra. It's not space filling. It's not just wasting time there, because there is interesting stuff that happens.
Yeah.
There is stuff that helps move the plot and helps like the characters grow, but it follows a very formulaic television of beat by beat, in a serialized structure of, okay, we know you're here. We know we got to get to here by the end of the episode. So we're going to make you go through X, Y, Z. Instead of just going through X and then getting there, we're going to make you go through X, Y, and Z in order to get to the end.
Okay. Are you enjoying watching this?
Oh, it's so beautiful to look at.
Yeah, but besides that, are you enjoying the story that they're telling?
Yes. Now that I know exactly where they're going. The first couple episodes, I was a little hesitant. I was like, okay, I think I know where they're going here, but I was nothing to, like, seriously grasp me, especially when you're telling all these stories disconjoined from one another. But once they actually started meeting up with each other and like the path starting to cross, then I'm like, okay, now the ball is starting to roll here. Now I get why people are excited about this. Okay. Now, episodes 5 through 10 that we're going to get are the actual like meat of Rings of Power.
Ooh,
so in one part, I'm kind of glad that I waited the 4 weeks, because if I would get about review like after the first 2 episodes out, I'd be like, I don't know who this is for. It's like part TV, it's part movie. I don't know. Like, I know they're eventually going to cross, but it may take a while.
Maybe.
And yes, it did take a while. It took 4 weeks or 3 weeks, because the first episode was 2 episode drop. So it took 3 weeks to get there.
Yeah.
But we're here now, and I'm actually enjoying it. It's just kind of like what Game of Thrones was, where those first like couple episodes were a bit of a slog, because it was a lot of backstory.
Sure.
That by the time we got to like the 3rd episode, when they moved to the other castle, that the families are actually interacting now, that you can get more of that dialogue of what made Game of Thrones good. That's what you're getting here with episodes like 4. That now that people are actually meeting and having conflicting ideas of what their goals are, now you're getting into a lot of like the fun stuff of having a Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power TV show.
Cool. So you're on board now. You're ready to wait.
It took a while, but I'm on board now.
All right, cool. So we'll have updates, I guess, through to come until that season wraps up.
Yep.
All right. Well, in that case, anything else on television that we need to talk about before we move on to cancellations?
Yes, because the Emmys happened. That means TV is coming back.
Yes, so we will definitely talk more about season premieres as we go on. Jeopardy's back.
Yes.
It's fun. Celebrity Jeopardy on primetime will start in just a couple weeks.
Yep. Some of your favorite serialized TV shows on network will be coming back starting on Monday.
Yes.
All the way. Forgot to mention, MasterChef has ended.
Yep.
But we'll talk about that when it gets renewed. Let's talk about it now. MasterChef got renewed for season 13. Season 12 just ended. It was a bring people back who got eliminated style. All your previous eliminations, come back here. What do you just got to win this?
Right.
Basically digging into the well of the past 11 seasons.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Original one definitely deserved to win because they did because as what always is the case, they fuck up the least on the final dish.
Always.
They try and go so fancy that either the meat becomes underdone or they run out of time and they become really sparse or they miss something element on the plate. And so that's like, oh, you get ticked here, you get dinged here, you get marked here, and this person who makes the fewest mistakes. Don't make your dishes so goddamn complicated that simple. You can't win. Keep it simple. The profile's in the flavor.
Anyway, so that's MasterChef.
I could win MasterChef. Yeah, well, no, I don't have the two.
Let's see you try. Let's move on. Let's move on to cancellations and renewals. Disney bringing back Raven's Home for a 6th season. HBO Max will be renewing Rap Shit for a 2nd season.
It's Rap exclamation point T.
Sure, yes. Showtime has canceled Flatbush Misdemeanors after its 2nd season. As you mentioned, MasterChef. Fox will be bringing it back for a 13th season. And then we have 3 deaths to get through here. Ramsey Lewis, age 87, a jazz pianist. Let me hit that in.
Yep.
Grammy winner back in 1966, 1967, and 1974. Ken Starr, age 76, from the world of politics, an American lawyer. He originally had Watergate here. not Watergate, Whitewater. Different,
Whitewater.
Different controversy.
Yes.
Whitewater controversy in the Clinton impeachment trial. Most people probably remember him from the Clinton impeachment trial.
Yes, most of you might know this from the Ken Starr report.
Yes.
This is that Ken Starr.
That's Ken Starr.
Died from complications from surgery.
Yes. But the world of movies was shook this week. Long time coming. Jean-Luc Godard, finally, age 91 has passed.
What do you mean finally?
Because I feel like every year or so somebody asks me, is he still alive? And I'm like, yes.
Yeah, I feel like he died like when we were in college 10 years ago.
No, he was still alive. He was making movies still within the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, quite a storied history. Obviously, very important for the French New Wave movement in the 1960s. Definitely pioneered a lot of important film techniques in that era that became very stock in trade among directors, including the jump cut.
The indie jump cut.
Yes. Definitely a lot of modern filmmakers are indebted to Godard, for better or for worse, depending on who you are. We're divided, I believe, on this podcast, judging from our film school days. Also, yeah, Christy is also on your side. I showed her Breathless, and she said she was complaining through the whole thing, and then said she doesn't get it.
Yes, but then you have to put in the lens of, but this was the first film to do it.
That's what I told her, and she says, doesn't matter. It doesn't make it fun to watch. I'm like, all right, fine.
Doesn't matter, because someone will come along and do it better.
Whatever. Anyways, yes, very important to films. I'm not even going to mention him. You know, if you know Godard's name, you know what he made. You know how important he was. If you went to film school, you definitely know.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely will be missed, and yeah, we'll probably see some tribute at the Oscars next year.
We definitely will.
Let's move on. First, before we start the movies section, yeah, it's a perfect segue. We have a question from our audience. We have a Richard Gloudman. Sorry,
go ahead.
Messed up your last.
Yeah,
name
Rich.
Gloudman.
Yeah, Rich. Mess up your name.
So, do you want to help me out here? Then, if you know.
Yeah, it's Gloudman.
Gloudman. Okay. He's asked us a question. He says, "Love you guys. Looking forward to listening to this on my long trip back home today. Fun question. When you get to the movie section, which we are in right now,
answering questions that you too can answer on the Media Boat live stream.
Yes. If you could make A24 create a movie based off of a YouTube series / miniseries, what would you choose? I wouldn't mind to see a good Backrooms horror. So I'm going to toss this to you because I have no idea what this is.
What Backrooms is?
Well, I didn't even know there was a bunch of horror series on YouTube. I didn't know anything about this.
Oh, there's a lot of like horror miniseries that creators will put out there that are interconnected with lore everywhere.
I see.
And a community that helps put them together.
All right, so what's your
referencing is the Backrooms, which is this horror shorts where these scientific guys have put up a electromagnetic field and entered into the void where things aren't quite as they seem. It's labeled the Backrooms because it's may or may not have to deal with like living in a simulation, and when people and treating that like a video game where some assets are pushed into out of bounds area. It's basically when you no clip.
Right, in a video game.
In a video game. But
finally, language I understand.
Yes, but think no clipping in real life. And you get to like these weird, like voided out areas.
Wow, okay. So do you think that's a good answer? Do you think that would work as an
no, because this would work as a Blumhouse film.
Oh, there you go. Different tone, I see.
Yes.
All right. Do you have an answer for A24 though? Do you think there's one that's more than their wheelhouse?
Yes. I want to see an A24 film, The Life and Times of Jake Paul, in the style of Barry Lyndon.
Okay, well, first of all, I vaguely know who Jake Paul is. My understanding he's not the horror dude, is he?
No.
So no, this is not the question. You're not answering the question.
Oh, I am answering the question. It's based off a series or miniseries.
Does he make series or miniseries?
He used to.
Videos about himself, though.
Videos about himself, but
getting punched in the face.
Well, no, now that's what he does, but that's not what he did before.
All right.
The other way you would do that is doing a Mr. Beast, Barry Lyndon style.
Who the hell is Mr. Beast?
Exactly. You don't know who he is. He goes around and gives away people money.
Well, then again, I feel like you're missing the spirit of this question.
No, I'm not.
I think you need to pick a horror series.
No, he's referencing a horror series.
Yeah, I know. So you need to pick another one. Is what I'm
saying.
But
A24 is more than horror, as we've seen with Marcel the Shell with Shoes On.
Yes, I guess. I don't know. Again, I think you're missing the spirit of the question.
Everything Ever All at Once.
I'm sorry, Rich. he's not doing service to your question. But
Actually,
feel free to ask more questions to us, and maybe we'll
like
answer them better next time.
Because these are YouTube series, much of the same way like Michelle the
Okay, never mind. Never mind.
That's exactly what I mentioned. Myself was an A24 film, which was a YouTube short. Yes, I am correct. I am vindicated. The audience has spoken.
Fine. All right, you're right. Fine. So Jake Paul or Mr. Beast?
Yes. And
whoever the hell they
by the way, if Barry Lyndon was too out of your wheelhouse for you, think Wolf of Wall Street then.
Okay.
All right. Think Citizen Kane-esque. Nothing of that grandeur, but where you're following someone who has the life and times of someone who comes from humble beginnings to grandeur stage of YouTube presence to transform that into whatever they're currently doing.
All right. Fair enough. Here's a question. Should I watch more YouTube? I feel like there's an entire world I'm completely oblivious to.
Well, what our resident audience here, Rich, is referring to is a very specific niche of horror YouTube shorts.
Yeah. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh, it is very much a thing. That's one part of like the different rabbit holes of YouTube that you can go down.
So many.
There's so many rabbit holes. Yes. You can if you want. It's not really recommended. I'd start with Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, which can also work as
I've heard of that.
It can also work as an A24 film, but also more blown out because it goes into the very weird psychedelic kind of aspect of it. Probably more legendary than anything because you can go very high end with something like that.
Sure.
Maybe Sony Screen Gems, possibly. But they are getting their own extra series on BBC, Channel 4, with Canadian television. That will be coming out. If it's not this week, it's next week. I know it's coming out soon. You may know more about that than me, but it's coming out soon, and then I'm going to be watching that because I think they're going to be putting it on YouTube as well.
All right. Well, cool. All right. Well, I learned a lot in the last minute or so. So thank you for educating
And if
me.
you're thinking I'm talking, I want to mention Poppy about that. You're wrong. Poppy is not A24 enough. Yes.
Anyways.
Also, wherever that dad version is, the spooky dad one.
All right.
Yes. If you know YouTube, yes. All this is waving right over your head.
Matrixing over here. So yes, you too can ask us questions. Like you mentioned, you can jump on the chat while we're live. We're usually live on Saturday mornings in Pacific time, I should say.
Yep.
Or you can shoot us an email. We'll say this again at the end of the show. But yes, email us at mediaboatpodcast@gmail.com, and we will read your question and answer it on the podcast. So thank you. Thank you so much. Let's move on into the movie section and wrap this up because I have to use the restroom. Let's talk about our weekend box office numbers first. Your number one movie this week was Barbarian with a $10.5 million debut. 2, Brahmastra Part 1, Shiva with a $4.5 million debut.
That is your Bollywood film.
Hey.
Cracking in the top 5 with $4.5 million.
Nice. Moving down to number 3 this week, Bullet Train with another $3.3 million. That's at 92 domestic. Yep. Will that hit 100? You think next week? No,
it's petering out now.
Won't quite make it.
Number
4, Top Gun Maverick, making another $3.1 million. Still your best performing movie of the year at $705 million. And rounding out your top 5 this week, The Invitation with another $2.6 million. That's sitting at a cool 18. Let's move on to the next section here. Upcoming releases. One of these is not happening this week, but the other 2 are. The Railway Children Return.
Yeah.
It says it in the movie title. I don't even need to elaborate.
I don't know. Remember they ever leave it in the first place.
Okay, he says he loves all the answers. So good job, Mike.
Yeah, answer his question.
You nailed it. All right. Don't Worry, Darling, also this week, which we've talked about briefly last week about the Vancouver Film Festival. Yeah, this is a one to watch.
This is currently limited. I think it's going to go wide in October. But if you can find it, it's out there.
And yeah, this is the one with all the controversy about spitting and Olivia Wilde. So if you're
Harry Styles,
following any of that business, check out Don't Worry, Darling.
It's that film. Florence Pugh's in it. If you like Florence Pugh.
I love Florence Pugh. Pugh?
Pugh.
It
might be Pooh, but I don't want to say Pooh.
I joked the other day with Christy. I was like, I feel like Imogen Imogen Poots and Florence Pooh should do a movie together. Pooh and Poots together at last. Anyway, that's about where my sense of humor is these days. Let's move on to movie news.
Hey, you forgot the big re-release.
What was the big re-release?
So, because Avatar 2 is coming out in December,
yes,
they are re-releasing Avatar into theaters.
Oh, is that what this is? This is Avatar 1. Okay, yes. I didn't realize that.
Yes, that's Avatar 1.
So I guess if you missed it in theaters the first time, somehow...
Or if it's been 11 years since you've seen it in theaters.
Yeah, more or less for me. You can do that again.
Yep.
So
you can go back to the land of Pandora.
You blue freaks, go see your movie again.
And realize, hey, I actually liked this film. Or, oh yeah, I didn't like the plot, but it looked great. Which is weird to think about now because this is 2009 when it came out. And now every movie kind of looks like that. Where it's all CG and computer captured. Thanks, Marvel.
Thanks, Marvel. All right, let's move on to our story. This is a bit of a wrap-up story. As we mentioned last week on the podcast, Disney's D23 was happening in progress. And it looks like we did actually miss the Marvel announcements as they happened after we hit quit.
Yeah, so, they happened 2 hours after we stopped podcasting.
Here's the wrap-up of that news from last weekend. Matt Shakman of WandaVision is confirmed to be directing the upcoming Fantastic Four film.
That was the only new announcement
about Fantastic
Four. It was also the only new announcement that we kind of figured going into it was going to be announced. We were hoping for an actual cast announcement of Fantastic Four. Didn't get that, but we got confirmation of a director now.
Yeah.
Thank you, John Watts, for leaving.
I guess so. Next up, first footage of The Marvels was shown, with co-stars Brie Larson, Teyona Paris, Iman Vellani, and director Nia DaCosta.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yep.
Marvels.
Yep. That was exclusive for D23. And I really didn't do a lot of sleuthing to try and find if anyone was recording it.
I don't think they're pretty locked down with that stuff.
They're pretty locked down with it. But hopefully this means trailer with Black Panther when it comes out later this year.
Maybe. I would see that. I guess that makes sense.
I don't know, but they've been promoting like one film at a time.
Yeah. I don't know what
because like the Black Panther trailer didn't come out until after Thor came out.
Right. So yeah, I wonder.
And the Thor trailer didn't come out until after Doctor Strange came out.
Yeah.
And then Doctor Strange didn't come out until after Spider-Man came out.
Infinite loop.
All right.
Let's move on. The first look at Alaqua Cox's return in Echo will also make the return of Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin and Charlie Cox's Daredevil.
That is, if you don't count Hawkeye as the return for Kingpin and Spider-Man No Way Home as the return for Daredevil.
Well, there you go. Next up, Captain America New World Order revealed the return of Blake T. Nelson as the main villain, the leader, after first appearing back in The Incredible Hulk 14 years ago.
Yeah, this is one of those other like long-time Easter eggs that were planted in The Incredible Hulk that are just now coming to pass.
Finally, yeah.
The first one being that what happened to Abomination, appearing both in Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings, and more recently in She-Hulk Attorney at Law.
I see. Okay.
So yeah, this is Marvel digging into the well, seeing like, what else can we bring back that we kind of played and teased about?
I got it. Okay. Next up, the only team-up film in Phase 5 will be the Thunderbolts, and their lineup was revealed. It includes Yelena Belova, Red Guardian, Bucky Barnes, Ghost, U.S. Agent, Taskmaster, and Elaine!
Elaine!
Point. Who the hell is Elaine?
Huh?
Who's Elaine?
Actual Elaine.
Oh, you...
Elaine!
Got it, okay. And who is she playing?
Huh? Oh, she's playing Contessa Valentina. But I don't want to put Contessa Valentina because no one knows her by that name.
Sure.
So I'd rather just put Elaine!
Got it. New trailers were shown.
I mean, I could put Madam President or
but
yes.
It's the Veep.
The Veep.
The Veep. New trailer shown on Loki Season 2, confirmed to be coming next summer.
Yes.
Werewolf by Night, featuring Gail Garcia Bernal, and directed by Michael Giacchino.
Yes.
Directed by Michael
Giacchino. And scored by Michael Giacchino. Normally you get directed and written by, but this is a weird directed and scored by.
Real quick, something I noticed about Dreamlight Valley. None of his compositions are in that movie.
No.
Or in that game.
In the game.
I noticed there's a sound-alike that sometimes plays that sounds sort of like the Up score, but doesn't commit to it.
Nope.
And I'm wondering where those rights are wrapped up. If he's just like didn't want to do the deal or something, because licensed music does show up in that game, but for some reason not his stuff. I just thought that was really funny. I was like, there's a song that starts and you think it's going to be the Up theme, and then it bails before it gets copywritten. I was like, that's weird. Anyway, sorry. Michael Giacchino, make that money. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania trailer she was shown, featuring Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror,
which we know is coming.
Yep. Ironheart, starring Dominique Thorne as the titular character,
which will be showing up in Black Panther.
Okay. Secret Invasion, with Samuel L. Jackson reprising his role as Nick Fury.
They had showed concept art before, but we got an actual trailer, which is out now for you to view.
And coming soon, director Ryan Coogler showed off a new clip of Namor in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which will, of course, is coming November, just a couple of months away.
Now, we don't deal in the rumor mill here, because if we did, we've been wrong on everything that was supposed to be shown on D23.
Oh, yeah.
But current rumor mill is that Ryan Coogler is in talks to direct one of the Avengers films, either King Dynasty or Secret Wars.
That'd be cool.
Apparently, there's also the rumor mill that the Russo brothers had said on film, or had said in previous interviews, that if they were to come back to the Marvel franchise, that they would want to direct Secret Wars, and that is officially the project. No word yet on who is directing those projects. They just announced them. But early kind of rumor mill is that Ryan Coogler would be directing one of those films.
Got it. Well, we will certainly see. Let's move on.
But then again, we had rumors that John Watts was going to direct Fantastic Four, and that didn't happen.
Who knows, honestly. Also from D23, we had a little bit of a wrap up for Star Wars stuff. It was not done as of when we called it quits last week.
Yep.
So here's what we missed. The Bad Batch Season 2 trailer was revealed with a release date of January 4th, 2023.
Excited about this.
More Bad Batch.
Mm-hmm.
The next animated series, Tales of the Jedi, will premiere October 26th. You have of last year. You mean this year?
Yes, of this year. We're in 2021, right?
Yes, no. First footage of Ahsoka, the series, was shown, as well as the Mandalorian Season 3.
Trailer out now for Mando Season 3.
They also revealed the John Watts project, as you mentioned, that he left Marvel for as Star Wars Skeleton Crew, featuring a brand new character played by Jude Law. So Jude Law joins the Star Wars universe.
Yep. This is a brand new film, apart from everything else. I assume this is going to be in the same vein as both Andor and Rogue One, where there's not going to be a whole lot of actual Jedis in them, but rather take place within the Star Wars universe. Or so I hope.
This week, Christy saw a billboard for Andor, and she asked me when she got home, is Andor a place, a person, a race? What is Andor? I told her it's a person. It's a guy.
It's a person.
It's a guy. Anyways.
No, that's a good bit for someone who doesn't know Star Wars, though.
Right. Because it sounds too similar to Endor, which is a place.
Yes.
Why would they name a guy Andor when you already have something called Endor? Come on, Star Wars.
Well, because someone was just typing really fast and wanted to write Andor this. Andor this name. And then start, oh, wait, what about Andor this name? This name is Andor.
We need another stupid name. We got another stupid name, guys.
Everybody
get off early. We made another stupid name.
/or. No, just take out the slash. We're done.
Brilliant. Brilliant minds.
Brilliant writing over there.
Lucasfilm. All right, let's move on to our second story proper here. That was a lot, believe it or not. This is our second story.
Yes.
Sony. What's going on with Sony?
Not to be outdone by Marvel.
Yeah. Sony's 3000 Pictures is developing a Sublime biopic. Yes, the band to Sublime.
Yeah, they are.
With Hunger Games director Francis Lawrence about the group from Long Beach, California.
And one of another series of strings of biopics.
The band's lead singer, Bradley Nowell, of course, died back in May 1996 from a drug overdose, with the band's final self-titled album releasing shortly after, and of course going multiple platinum because it had super huge hits on it. This, of course, gave us Santeria and some songs I will not name here on the podcast.
Yes, that other song that we can't name here.
Or just don't want to. We can. We got that explicit tag.
Yes,
I
we
don't
do.
want to talk about it.
Okay.
I don't care for Sublime. What are your feelings about Sublime?
I wasn't going to include this story because I thought, just another one of those biopics. Yeah. But then I asked around to people I was
hanging
out with.
Love Sublime.
And people love Sublime. And we'll be like, yes, I would totally watch a Sublime biopic.
To be fair, we live in Southern California. So
it may be biased.
Sense. I am moving to Long Beach. I will be a resident of Long Beach starting next month. So I guess it makes sense. We're in the Sublime zone here. Yes. We're in the
Sublime zone.
Sublimation is happening around us. But no, I'm not personally a fan. I don't get it, but I get why people like Sublime. Sure, whatever.
Yep.
Anyway.
It's just another step towards a Kurt Cobain biopic.
You know what's happening.
You know what's happening.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened. Well, I mean, there have been, but not on a big scale, I guess.
Yes.
Let's move on. Next bit here. Chris Mundy. This is just wrapping up that Sublime story. Chris Mundy, who wrote on Ozark and Criminal Minds, will be writing the script for it.
Yep. So there's a script written. They have a director. Now it's time to get casting.
Yes, we'll get there. Studio Sony also announced a new Karate Kid movie for June 7th, 2024.
Yes, you heard that right. A new Karate Kid movie.
Yes, which doesn't have any talent attached quite yet in regards to stars or director. This makes sense after the success of Cobra Kai, the series based on the Karate Kid mythos.
Yes, they did reference that this will not be in conjunction with the Cobra Kai series that's going on. They also referenced that this will not be in conjunction with the Jaden Smith vehicle that was in 2010. But they have to make this film, otherwise
they
lose the IP. They lose the rights.
You love that. You love when that happens.
Yep.
Next up, also new from Sony next year, is the next installment of the Searching franchise. Missing, which will be released on February 24th, stars Nia Long and Storm Reed, what a good name, and an untitled True Haunting movie from Screen Gems that is actually going to release on January 6th, 2023. So 2 horror movies, I guess?
1 horror, 1 suspense mystery. So if you remember that Searching was the John Cho film where everything was filmed in front of a computer.
Yes.
And you saw what was happening between him searching on a computer to find his missing daughter. Same kind of concept, but this will be Missing, starring Nia Long and Storm Reed. And then whatever Screen Gems has in their already existing bucket of horror films is probably going to get released on January 6th because I doubt they're going to start a new film now with, let me check, 3 months to go in the year.
Yeah, no, not enough time. So
look
forward to those.
Yeah, so it's an untitled True Haunting film, meaning it's another one of these horror films coming out at the beginning of the year that they have yet to kind of do well.
They always do well.
Sony does well here in this beginning space of no man's land.
Yeah, I feel like modern Sony feels like 80s Paramount, where they're just they figured out the base, the singles
eventually add up
hit strategy that old Michael Eisner used to talk about.
Yep.
And it's working for them, I think.
It adds up. That money adds up fast, especially when people want to go to the movies. But I mean, as we saw in the box office, $4.5 billion Hollywood film.
Not so much these days. Not so much. Speaking of, as a result of these new films being added, Sony is moving back some other of their movies, more of their big budget movies.
Specifically, the Sony Marvel films that they're co-jointing.
First up, the Venom Universe's Kraven the Hunter, looking for an October 6th, 2023 release date. This means that Madam Web, the Spider-Man spinoff, will now move to February 16th, 2024. Soon, in the future, Sony Marvel is claiming that July 12th, 2024 will be a release date for something they have yet to announce.
Probably something they have yet to shoot as well.
Probably.
But they are basically claiming their
knows?
stake of a July 12th, 2024 release.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, it may be Venom 3.
I would imagine, right?
I doubt they do Morbius 2.
Morbius 2, let's do it. I'm in. No.
It is far enough to where they could shoe in a Tom Holland Spider-Man film.
Yeah, I feel like Marvel would have had to be announcing that or talking about that or not. So probably not. I think it's too soon for that.
Well, because this would be Tom Holland outside of MCU.
Yeah, I wonder.
It may be the fan-led get Andrew Garfield back as Spider-Man and put him in the Venomverse.
No, I think that ship sailed.
I think so too. But don't tell that to the people online. They still have hope.
Don't tell anything to people online, honestly. Just don't interact with them. Don't talk to them.
Then what are we doing?
That's a good question. All right, that'll do it for the news this week for movies. Did you watch any movies? I didn't watch any movies.
I didn't watch any movies. I was too busy playing some games.
I saw a play, a musical. I saw The Prom.
Like actual in person, The Prom? Yeah. From Netflix's The Prom?
And we're seeing the...
with a lack of...
yes.
God, what's his name?
No James Corden.
No James Corden?
Yeah. And then in just a couple of weeks, we're seeing Oklahoma in real life. So, Oklahoma. Anyways, so yeah, no movies, though. No movies on television, at least. Except for Frozen again last night.
Except for Frozen again.
Well, in that case, let's move on then and wrap this place up.
Yes, we are done here then.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of the Media Boat Podcast. Thanks for watching if you watched us live. If you would like to join our viewer and watch live as the show happens, you can do so by going onto our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com, search Media Boat Podcast, and that'll take you to our channel. Like, comment, subscribe, click the bell for notifications when we go live. All of that biz. We appreciate every single one of you. So thank you for engaging with us. You can also listen to us in classic podcast form. If you're more of an audio listener, you can do that on any podcast service you subscribe to. Just search Media Boat Podcasts. Includes services like Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever you listen. Put us in and you'll find us in your ears. We're in there. We're hanging out. You know, a little table and chair set up. Then you can also find us on social media channels like Twitter, where we're at Media Boatcast, Facebook, where you can search Media Boat Podcast and find our page there as well. MediaBoatPodcast.com is where you'll find an archive of our shows. And last but not least, as we mentioned in the middle of the show, you can email us questions, comments, feedback, anything you want to say about us, to us, any combination of those words, by emailing us at mediaboatpodcast@gmail.com. So we will be back next week for another show. We will have all sorts of new news and reviews, thoughts, and everything else for you next week. So
TV returns next week, so we will have thoughts on season premieres.
Yes, so
there are probably some wrap-ups too, like The Bachelorette wrapping up.
So look forward to all of that and more.
If you're into those kind of shows. All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye. Clear. Thanks, Rich, for tuning in. I know you're probably out driving and listening to us live.
Have fun.
Have fun. Bye.
Bye.
See you in a